The Horrible Gamers podcast may contain content not suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Horrible Gamers podcast. My name is Gunny Chief, aka Henley, or you can just call me Hen. This is episode 469 on December 16th, 2024. Welcome to the show. Jesus or Man might be joining us later, but I'm just starting a little bit earlier because, you want to get the Christmas tree up or decorations put up. I don't want to wait till it's too late, so being the festive of this season here. So in order to follow us, guys, go over onto the X platform, the old Twitter, @_Horrible Gamers. Also, leave us a review on the iTunes. Leave us 5 stars, please. We'd appreciate it. And if you have the Spotify, leave us 5 stars over there for you mobile users. I've never seen it on there, but I listen to a lot of Spotify, but apparently there's a thing you can leave stars over on Spotify for your favorite podcast, Horrible Gamers. Also, we have a Facebook group. You can go over there. It is facebook.com/groups/Horrible Gamers. So go over there, join us, click on that. What you say in the group stays in the group. It doesn't go to your friends or your family, and they cannot see it once you're in the group. It's a private group. So check us out over there. Also, I don't see it on here, but probably over on Discord. I think you can always I would say the best way is you can always reach out to me, Mayo, or Jesus, or anybody in the Facebook group, and there's probably a link in there for the Discord channel itself. I don't have an article up, but I was reading something over on the Twitter X that there was now like a search function. I was looking for it earlier on the app, but I believe you can actually go in there and actually look for groups now that you can actually join. So I'm not sure if they just have to be locked down or private, but yeah, maybe try and just type in Horrible Gamers Podcast on there and see if that pops up, and you should be able to just join, I believe. I don't know if it takes approval, but if it does, yeah, let us know and we'll get you in there. It's a good group. It's probably where we're mostly at is over here on the Discord, which is actually where I'm recording at from now. So also our Redbubble folks, you guys probably need some, I don't know, maybe a clock or some socks. Shower curtain, whatever you want. There's stickers. There's all kinds of stuff over there we have at redbubble.com that you can have that is HGP branded. We don't really make any money off of that, but shout out to Jonathan, with the really cool logo that he has. Like, it's a lot of that neat stuff. I like the coffee cup a lot, so I use that for hot coffee in the morning. So yeah, check out Redbubble. Also, our song is done by Fendemek, or is it Fowler and Twist X Breakout? And my favorite song, which is the Broke for Free Night Owl. That's our outro song. That's one of my favorites. And that's what you're hearing at the end of the show. Or we might get Ricky Alfarz's music in there. We'll see. We'll see how we do it. I am not the music guy or the editor. That would be Mayo and Jesus. So this is just a straight up recording. So whatever they put in there, great. I'll definitely be listening for that as well. So yeah. So let's see here, guys. So first thing I wanted to talk about was probably like some of the announcements at the Video Game Awards. As we all know, that Astrobot won Game of the Year. So no surprise there, I don't think. Unless anybody else was thinking it was going to be other runners up, which I don't know. There wasn't that a thing on the Video Game Awards where they used to have runners up. I think that's the way Jeff Keighley used to do it. I don't know if he did it last year, but I think this is like his 10th year anniversary. But I think they would do that like at the beginning of the show. They would, kind of give these like runner ups, like, the latest 5 or what have you. And then, they do those commercial breaks and they'd come back and kind of eliminate games or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of a different show, but I think that's the way he used to do it. Now it's kind of more, I don't know. I watched the whole thing from beginning to end and I thought it was a really good show. There was a lot in there. A lot of game announcements, games that a lot of the stuff in there like was not just like game of the year stuff. It was a lot of like, music, and they had a symphony there. They might have had a couple different symphonies. Snoop Dogg performed on stage. Yeah, there was some really, really good stuff in there. But the games that were like in the top 5 or whatever, I guess they were technically runner or nominated for, which was Metaphor, ReFantazio, Black Myth, Wukong, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. That's DLC, folks. You guys know I love Elden Ring, but come on, that's not a game. That's fucking DLC. Get out of here with that. So yeah, I was kind of like, huh? Who nominated that? But and then also Balatro. That's the Mayo game. That's the roguelike deck builder playing poker, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a big card guy. I think I'm sure if it ever came to like Game Pass, or it's like, hey, this is free on Steam or Epic, I'd probably play it. It would be one of those things where I'd be like, guess what, guys? It would be something I'd talk about. I played it. Yeah. And then I would just delete it off my hard drive. Right? That would be it. That'd be like, I played it. It's cool. Whatever, Yeah. Not a huge poker fucking guy or whatever. I'm not into the gambling of stuff or whatever. So I don't know. Or who knows? Maybe it just might be one of those addictive games, like a Slay the Spire or something, and I thought I think that would be the difference for me. That's not technically poker, right? That's more of a, not exactly. It is kind of a deck builder, but I don't know. That one's just so much different, right? It's not. There's an article about Balatro later, like explain a little bit more about that. But either way, let's see here. So announcements. There was a lot of announcements. I thought there were some really good ones, and I think probably by top announcement, and I swear they only showed like could have been 10 seconds of it, but it was Elden Ring getting that co-op spin-off called Night Rain. So yeah, I was kind of like, oh, what the hell is that? Like, I didn't hear about this. This is like brand new. What's going on? I thought it was DLC for Elden Ring at first, but no, this is like a standalone game that's basically like co-op, I would say, I guess co-op multiplayer, right? It's you and 2 other friends, or you and just 2 other people that go in and I guess fight shit. Somebody was talking about, did they say Monster Hunter? I don't remember, but yeah, I think it's just, I don't think it's going to be like this full-fledged, massive open world game at all. But so I think, okay, so in the original game, I'll just say this, like in Elden Ring, for those of you that have never played it, I think there's like 10 characters to kind of choose from, and it's not like they're not built with stats or whatever. It could just be like body type, male, female. They have certain traits or whatever. But again, you're still kind of starting at 0 with all those 10 different characters, right? And then you kind of build up from there. So a lot of it, I think, is just a little more cosmetic, and, but I think what they're trying to say, like just going through YouTube videos, I think nobody knows at this point, but if you want to get my guess, I think it's going to be more like, hey, these are like, so it is coming out with, they say 3 or 5 characters at launch. I want to say it was 3, but right. 3 people. So 3 people co-op. So then it's probably just going to be predetermined characters, right? So there is like a beta, and that is scheduled for my birthday on January 10th. But here's the weird thing. It's only consoles. So, which is odd. I think if I was to guess, probably PC is probably going to be like a week later. So I don't know, maybe January 16th or whatever. I can see definitely like Steam getting that, because I believe this game is not, well, Elden Ring is not on Epic. So who knows? Maybe Night Rain will be, but I'll just say it's just going to be on Steam. But kind of interesting, because this game, this brand new game that's coming out in January, is going to be on the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4, the Series X and S, Xbox One. So yeah, even the older consoles. I think it's probably something they were probably working on when they made Elden Ring, because these games did launch on those older systems. So it's all the same infrastructure, right? So it's probably just all in the same, code or what have you. So it's probably just easier for them to port that over to those consoles itself. So yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely hyped. I'm really looking forward to it, and I can't wait to play the beta itself. So they're calling it like a network test. So yeah, interesting. I think it'll work fine because currently, or even at launch with Elden Ring, there is multiplayer. It's not like a seamless multiplayer. For example, I think when you invite somebody to your game, I think you can't have like a steed, right? You can't both get on horses and fast travel around the world. I'm pretty sure you can't do that. You can just kind of stay within whatever you've unlocked and kind of walk or run on foot. I think I could be wrong too, but like, let's say it's a boss that requires like you to fast travel to it. I think you have to re-invite that person or that friend to your game. I don't think they make it very easy with like, these curled finger things, and you got to put it on the ground, and you have to have the correct code. It's a little bit of a pain in the to even like invite somebody. But I think once you've got like all the correct information in there, in the actual menu itself, and I think it's tied to each system, right? So like if you have the Steam version, you can only invite Steam people, so on and so forth with like Xbox and PlayStation, right? It's not like a cross-play thing in Elden Ring proper. But I guess that raises another question, right? With Elden Ring Night Rain, will there be crossplay? Interesting. We're going to find out. So they really just haven't even announced any of that, or haven't commented on it. So yeah, definitely look into that. And yeah, I think the game they say is really going to come out probably at 1.0, probably in the spring. So that's a guess. Yeah, I think I think this game is probably even like done. It's like what we're talking about, less than 30 days here. So it's not like they've been working on this for quite a while. So yeah, and another thing, I think since I've been really following this a lot, I think in the spring of 2025, I think I'm sure they're going to add more characters, with predetermined stats, right? That say, hey, this one has more elemental damage or whatever. It's more of a mage type build or whatever. And then I would say also, if you're going to go in and with that predetermined character, right, there's got to be something to where you level up that character, right? Otherwise, why would you play, right? Or is it just more like, hey, we went in, we killed a bunch of trash mobs and then we beat a boss, right? Like, what's the reward? I think that's the question on everybody's mind, right? Like how they're going to do that, right? Do you just level up with that character? Like, how does that even work, right? So yeah, that'll be interesting going forward, right? Because let's say if your friend, let's take it more of a Borderlands way of like, oh, my friend's level 45, but I'm a level 4. You know what I mean? Like, does that mean I can't join their game? But if I do, yeah, like how does that even work? So I think they did say something about it scaling or whatever, kind of to your base damage, right? So yeah, interesting. We'll definitely have a lot more news on that, I think, in January, when the beta, or what they're calling it, the network test, is actually out and ready. But going back to like some of the announcements that were pretty cool was Naughty Dog's new game. I think this was a surprise, right? I was thinking, yeah, like we didn't know like what they were working on. I think they kept it a pretty good secret. But so this is a sci-fi game. I don't know if I want to call it action or third person, but it's called the Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. So this is a pretty cool trailer. This is where you play as a bounty hunter named Jordan, and I forgot the name of the character herself, like her actual name. But apparently she's a veteran in the video game space of voice acting and stuff like that. So yeah, just reading different articles on that. So it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't write it down here. I don't think there was a release date for it. So yeah, I'm sure you saw the same trailer. It looks pretty awesome. So can't wait for that. I'm pretty sure that's definitely going to be on PlayStation 5. And I'm sure it's probably just, everything nowadays is just a timed exclusive, right? Before it comes to Steam. So, and that's something they always, hold close, right? Like they don't want to say like, this game will release on Steam exactly 4 months from launch, on the PlayStation 5. Like, no, I like how they kind of wait, right? Like they want to sell consoles, man. So the number one selling console, that's how you do it, right? Just say it's coming to PlayStation 5, with PC to be announced. Yeah. So there's that. The Witcher 4. What'd you guys think of that? Witcher 4 with Ciri. I thought it was cool. I know you played a young Ciri in, parts of The Witcher 3. And yeah, she's definitely older. There's like a new voice actress for her character as well. But she's definitely playing as the main character. And of course, yes, Geralt does make a cameo or is just in the game, original voice actor. So I think they showed him at the very end with his voice. Yeah, so I thought it looked really good. And CD Projekt Red, they, minus Cyberpunk at launch or whatever, like the games look amazing, right? So now I've actually got a PC that I actually run this game at launch, but I'm sure it's going to look great on all the systems. And yeah, they certainly, I wouldn't say polish, right? But definitely the graphics are certainly there, right? So, yeah, so looking forward to The Witcher 4. And I can care less, right? Male, female, whatever. Put a dog as the main character. If it's a great, amazing RPG, I'm down with it, So, yeah. Also, we've got Game of Thrones King's Road. All I got to say about this, it's a mobile game, guys, on iOS and Android. So I guess maybe the question is like, they haven't said, right? But like, is this going to be one of those like mobile games where, it only runs on, iOS 18 or, the iPad 2 Pro and like, just the newer generation phones? Or is this just like, hey, this is a general game that just kind of runs on everything, so we can't have good graphics? I don't know. Either way, I really don't care. No, not exactly. I would, whatever. So I'm sure I'll try it, and yeah, I'll probably be upset if it's like, oh, you got to come to Apple Arcade and you got to pay us $10 a month, to play this game. It might be one of those types exclusives, right? So even Google's doing the same thing, right, on their Google Play Store, right, with their subscription. But yeah, yeah, I hope that's just not the case, right? like, hey, anybody can play or whatever, right? It's open. You can actually, I don't know, right? Is it going to be one of those like purchase games type things, or yeah, is this just going to be a free to play with loot boxes and all that crap? So we'll see. Next game on the list is Turok Origins. This is a brand new game. So I think the last one, I don't know if they said it was 2007 was the last Turok game. And, I want to say back at the launch of Xbox One, PlayStation 4, not the launch, but sometime in that era, I remember Turok came out with like, I don't know if it was like a remastered edition, not remastered, but they might have been just like a collection or something of the Turok games. So they might have just been up-resed or what have you. I never bought it or purchased it. I don't know if I've ever played a Turok game, but forgive me, guys, I never played one. But yeah, maybe I did back in the day. It could have been on like some kind of arcade or something, right? But yeah, it's just something I bypassed. Like I didn't think they were something in my wheelhouse, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. This one looks definitely like AAA, and yeah. I'm sure I'll be picking it up, right? If it's definitely like in the action-packed, 2025 way of things. So no release date. Next one is The Long Dark 2. This one's called Black Frost. And so it's coming to early access all the way into 2026. So yeah, I don't know. I never cared for the first one. I want to say that. Did it come out on like when Game Pass first came out or whatever, like 5 6 years ago or something like that. And I don't know, it just didn't, I don't know. And it was definitely like one of those like, Unreal Engine style type cartoony games that, yeah, I couldn't figure it out. I don't know. It was like one of those things where I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't know if you're just like shooting wolves and hunting deer or something. So yeah, I think I played the game for like an hour or whatever and put it down. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes with the second in the sequel. So let's see what else here. We've got Capcom, right? So they're focused on reactivating dormant series following Okami and Onimusha revivals, right? So it said, will the Dino Crisis drought end soon? So they're working on more reveals of its dormant series, and the company said following the reveal of the Okami and Onimusha games at last week's Game Awards, in addition to regularly releasing major new releases each year, said they are focusing on reactivating dormant IPs that haven't had a launch title recently. So finally, it's about time, Capcom, stop remaking games, guys. Come out with new ones, huh? Says the company's working to further enhance corporate value by leveraging its rich library of content, while including revivals past like Okami and Onimusha, in order to continuously produce highly efficient, high-quality titles. So it does say that it's unclear what form these revivals will take, that it takes some form of remasters or remakes or brand new game. Well, let's go with the brand new game, okay? Please. For instance, Okami and Onimusha games are new entries into their perspective series, but Capcom has also seen great success with Resident Evil remake games. Yeah, I mean, I think the remakes are fine, right? Like it's, especially if you didn't play them on like, I don't know, the Dreamcast or something, right? Then it's obviously it's new to us, right? And players that have never played the OG originals with tank controls, right? This is like a new AAA game, So yeah, I would definitely say for sure if that's the way they want to go, I'm all about it. But yeah, I don't know. What are these games, guys? I don't know. I don't play too many JRPGs or what have you. So, but that's kind of all I really had for like some of the reveals. There were other things in there. I know there was like some new trailers for games that we already knew about. But I'm sure I missed a bunch of them. So, but yeah, on to kind of what I've been playing here. Let's see here. I did play a lot over the last 3 weeks. I've been, especially in the last 2 weeks, I would say, where I've just kind of been here playing on mostly PC and some console games, but, and again, in no particular order, it's just what I've been kind of playing. Really, kind of starting from today, I've kind of gotten back into, Returnal. I did buy that game on Steam, and yeah, I bought that like a couple weeks ago. It was like might have been the winter sale or whatever. I forgot the price on it, but I thought definitely want to pick that up, because I've got the PS5 DualSense controller. Want to make use of that, but I'm having issues with it. I think both controllers on PC, they're not exactly either controller friendly, but I'll talk about that part of it later. But yeah, so this is Returnal, made by House Marquee. They made that game Resogun. Remember that? Was that PS3? Or no, that was PlayStation 4. So really good. So this is a roguelike third-person shooter where I want to say the maps change each time. Each time you die, right? Like if you die, you kind of go back to your ship, and then you're just kind of like, revived, and then go back out at it again in that first-person view. So yeah, so this is like. I was actually streaming this today on Twitch. I rarely ever stream on Twitch, but I got through what I feel like was a good part of the map, and then there's a lot of like locked doors, but you need keys, or you need like, I don't know, some certain items or whatever, some scrap or some bullshit, to either unlock something or what is it, like Xenotech? It kept saying like, oh, you can't get through that door, you don't have the Xenotech. right? I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't know how to get Xenotech. One thing I haven't done, like I haven't really gone to YouTube, or I try not to ever do that, guys. I try not to ever like, hey, I'm going to go to YouTube and check out exactly what I need to do, because I don't even want no spoilers, or, be like, oh, I already know what happens next, right? So that's what I kind of do with most new games, right? So I would say the only exception might be like Elden Ring or whatever, like that sort of game where I'm like, how do I do this again? Right? Like, where the hell do I need to go? Right? Like that's something I feel like requires it. So, but yeah, I think I have even reached that point with Returnal today, where if you can even go back and watch the stream, where I'm like, what the world am I supposed to do? Right? Where it has this objective of like, find a way to open the door or some bullshit, right? I'm like, I have no freaking idea, right? Like, I feel like I've gone through every door. I've killed all the enemies, right? I don't have a jetpack that's like powerful enough to reach, higher areas or whatever. So I'm sure there's something I'm definitely missing. And it probably just does require me to actually look up a guide to say, okay, this is what you need to do to, in order to advance to the next area. Or it could be a simple thing of like, hey, I just need to like reset the cycle, go back, kill a whole bunch more enemies, right? Until I get enough of whatever this material, I can't think of the name of it, right? There's several of them that you actually acquire, right? To either, upgrade your weapons, or, yeah, I think it's mostly for that, for your suit and for your weapons. Yeah, so that's, I don't know. So, yeah, that's what I'm probably going to do next with this game. So, yeah, is just kind of get a guide for it. So, oh, and by the way, like you're just kind of like start off with a pistol, right? So then you can find other weapons. There are like little hidden areas you can drop down in or whatever. And then, yeah, you might find a better SMG or something, right? Like just a little bit better, right? It's going to be like, oh, this one's a +1, right? Like it does give a little bit more damage. So you can either swap it out or keep your pistol. It's up to you. Yeah, but so far I really like it. It's cool. Like I do like the roguelike thing to it, where I feel like every time I play it, I'll go back in and be like, okay, I kind of recognize this room or whatever. But then, it might have a little bit more enemies, or, more resources to pick up or something, or yeah. Or you'll find like today I found like this, like there's like this scorpion spider fucking thing or whatever. I put it on my arm, like, oh cool, it's not trying to kill me or whatever, it's there to help me, so I think it's cool. I like the sci-fi look of it. I did have to turn like the brightness up on the game, like, so you don't fall off a ledge or whatever. I think that's the other thing, like when you do, like, let's say you fall off a ledge, I don't think it like resets anything. You just kind of brings you back, right? So, yeah, I think you're okay. Unless you die from an enemy or whatever, that's when you actually get, go back to your ship, and you're like, that's when you get revived or whatever, and start all over again in a sense, right? So, yeah, you kind of start from the beginning and work your way through, and then all the maps are different, right? Or it's set up differently. So that's the roguelike element to it. But yeah, I'm having fun with it. So yeah, I definitely should have picked this up when it first came out. Yeah, I think it was just PS5, I believe. Maya would know. But anyway, on to the next game I've been playing a lot is Brotato. I know this game. I started it on, I'm trying to say I bought it. Did I buy it on Steam? Because it was really cheap. It's just a cheap little indie game, roguelike shooter, bullet hell shooter. And I think it also came to Game Pass. Then I was playing it over on the console. So yeah, if you like Vampire Survivors, and I think it doesn't look anything like it, but it's just another bullet hell game. I'd say Brotato's a little more, I want to say it's faster, right? Doesn't take much, the gameplay's a little faster. So, and the map is way, way small. So, but I'm pretty excited because I did beat level 20 or wave number 20 today, and that kind of ends your run. So I don't know what my rewards are. I think the rewards are just like it unlocks more characters, right? So I think when you first play this game, I think you get a handful of characters. And there's like a whole bunch of them in there with different stats or whatever, different buffs, or, it could be more range damage, or, it could be minus 30 damage or whatever. But then you're going to get like turrets or other things, right? So it's always going to be this offset of things. So it's more of a challenge run than anything. So I start off today with this character, and I forgot the actual name of what they actually call it, but it's like, all right, you're definitely going to get like a ton of like melee damage, and the map is 33% smaller. So, right, the map is already fucking small. So I'm like, oh yeah, this won't be a very long run for me, right? But I started off and I had like, you have 6 weapons you can equip, right? But you don't always have 6, right? You can recycle them, or you only start with 1 in the beginning. And so I had 3 melee damage and then 3 ranged, right? Whether they be shotguns or pistols or flamethrowers, right? Or an axe or a javelin, right? Like, yeah, I had this mixed match, and I thought, okay, I always like that balance, right? Of like, I don't want to have just like all range weapons, right? I want to have some melee, because, as the waves get, go on, like, they're like all over you, right? So you want some melee stuff. At least that's always my theory on it. So, yeah, but, and as you finish each wave, right? And then you'll get like different bonuses, right? Or, basically they kind of come up with like these like card style type things. They're not cards, right? But then it'll display like, things you can purchase, right? With like the materials that you got from the map, right? From killing enemies. And then there's also the thing called trees, right? So then actual trees that you can actually like break, and then they'll give you different, either some ability, little boxes, or also materials, right? So yeah, so then you can, the cool thing about it is like, trying to think if they did it in like, in Vampire Survivors, no, there's another game I'm thinking of where basically you lock them in, right? So then if you don't want to purchase them yet, then you can just do it later, the next round or what have you. So I think that was a pretty cool little update they did way back when. But yeah, so then I was just trying to like put a lot of points into wherever it kind of needed it, right? So whether it was like my range damage, melee, like whatever it might have been. So I feel like it was like, oh man, this fucking this run is doing really good. I'm at like wave 16, and I'm like, I think I'm actually gonna beat it, because I've made it to level 20 before, and man, the boss just wrecks you, like and again, there's like 100 other enemies on the screen, right? And again, we're talking a 33% reduction in map size, right? So yeah, I was actually able to, I think because I had enough, I want to say it was armor. I had a decent amount of health. I had good armor. And also I was putting a lot of points towards luck as well, because luck will like increase like the chances of your the drops being better. I wouldn't say drops, but they're actually like your abilities, right, that you can purchase. So those were really good. Like I got a couple really good ones that I added to my my stats. So yeah, or buffs or whatever. And then man, like I thought, oh, I'm gonna die. Like, no, the boss is going down, and then boom, like I killed him in like after like minute and a half or whatever. And yeah, I was pretty happy about that. So yeah, I think it could be different, right? Like, because even if you choose like just whatever character, it could be the very first one you choose, which is like called the well-rounded character or whatever. This one has a little bit of health and a little bit of range damage, right? Like, I don't know, maybe you're just not going to get like all the weapons you think that you're going to get, right? That are actually going to drop, right? You may not get like more luck or whatever for better drops. So again, it's just going to be, I think it's all super random. So yeah, not each run is going to be exactly the same. So yeah, I've made it to like level 14 before. I've been like, damn, I thought I was going to make it. Like this game just kind of does it to you. But yeah, Brotato, it's kind of on everything. I believe it's on mobile as well. So yeah, it's on everything. Probably Xbox One and PS4 and PS5 and yeah, just everywhere. It's on Game Pass, I believe. So definitely playing it on Steam. So wherever you want it, guys, definitely go get that game. It's a fun top-down bullet hell game. But on to the game that I'm sure everybody wants to hear about, and that's Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Yeah, I've been avoiding any kind of spoilers about this game, like, kind of leading up and, what it's going to be. And, yeah, like the story or anything like that. Like, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to actually play this on Game Pass, So I went ahead and I don't know why the hell I did it, because I always say don't do it. And that is preload the game on Game Pass. I think I did it 2 days before. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just do that. I'll pre-download the game, right? So that way it'll be ready for me to play. And there was this, I hate when they do this. There's the early access thing where they say, yeah, Friday, guys, if you buy the premium edition or what have you, then you can play it early on Saturday, or excuse me, on Friday, because the release date is actually on a Sunday at 6 p.m. Who really has an actual release date of 6 p.m. on a Sunday? Get out of here with that shit. I think, remember Battlefield started doing that back in the day? And then yeah, guys, come to, what was it when games used to come out on a Tuesday, right? But you can get it on Saturday if you come, if you pre-order from wherever. It could be fucking GameStop or wherever you had gotten it, right? Or you could have just bought it, right? Have it delivered to your house. Back in the day, we used to do that, right? And but you had to buy the premium edition for what was it like back then? It was $79.99, right? So now everything's $100 for the super ultra edition, or even more these days. But anyway, so yeah, I did that, and then Sunday around 6 o'clock, I was watching the timer, literally count down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it said play, and I'm like, cool. I actually hit the play button. It's error, what, something about that. And I was like, oh, come on, really? I already had the game deal, so then I just deleted it. I just delete from my system, from my Game Pass app on the PC, re-download it, wait another whatever it was, or 15 or 18 minutes for it to freaking download so I can play it. But yeah. But once I got in there, yeah, of course I've got the 4070 Ti Super, whatever, and then everything's everything's run on Epic and everything runs fine and pretty smooth. So yeah, great launch. I heard really great things, as far as reviews, and it's getting the 9s and the 10s, or I don't know if anybody made it a 10, but definitely high scores. But yeah, I really didn't have any issues after just launching it on Game Pass, of course. But yeah, once I get in there, yeah, no issues at all. But yeah, this is from Machine Games, so this is from the people that brought you Wolfenstein. So that's another great series of games you can play over on Game Pass as well, or on Steam, or wherever you play them at. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I've watched all the movies, of course, as a kid growing up, and Raiders of the Lost Ark and all those movies, and I think the first two were good, and then kind of after that, they were okay, So yeah, it's not like I just had to add them to a collection or whatever. So, but they're all good, great action, fun movies. So yeah, so this one is and again, I'm not going to spoil anything about the game. Maybe a couple little spoilers, a couple tiny little ones, but yeah. So I'll say this about once you kind of get through is it the prologue? Is what I'm thinking, the beginning of the game. I'll just call it the prologue, right? So prologue, you get through the college and you get basically to the Vatican, right? So there's a lot going on at the Vatican in Italy, right? Is that where the Vatican is? And so this is during, or I should say before World War II, or just before World War II, right? Where you had the Nazis, right? but I forgot what they were actually calling them. They weren't calling them Nazis. They were calling them something else in the game. But either way. So, but you did have other, like, whatever military, Italy fucking people there as well. So I would say that's like the most of the military people. So apparently this is part of like history. I actually didn't know that they invaded the Vatican or how that kind of worked or whatever. But either way, so those are obviously the bad guys, right? So you're doing different like missions in and around the Vatican, and I don't feel like it's like this extremely large area that requires like a fast travel, but there is a fast travel system in there. And if you go up to like one of the street signs, and you can like once you've unlocked an area, like you actually, whether it was story progression or you actually like, ran over to it or whatever, it kind of unlocks, right? So then yeah, you can use a street sign to either fast travel back, right? Because maybe you need to go talk to somebody. I think I used it one time, but I feel like you can just either just run back there. Like, yeah, I feel like that was probably easier. I don't know. That's what I did, because I'll say this: like, it's not like people are going to be like, "Hey, why are you running?" or whatever. You look suspicious, right? The only people that can really detect you, once you've kind of unlocked some of the areas within the Vatican, I think they're called the captains, right? So then the captains will spot you easily. And when I say spot you easily, it's not like Hitman, right? It's not like, oh gosh, like, yeah, the whole fucking army's after me or whatever. And I'm playing it on just the regular medium difficulty, and I feel like it's an easy game. I'll say that. Like, whatever you choose as the normal difficulty, I feel like it's easy, and yeah, that's probably the best option. I don't think you really need to downgrade, because it's not like you're doing any precision shooting or anything like that. So, but speaking of shooting, I don't even have a pistol, and I see there is some ammo, random ammo. It's not everywhere, but I picked it up and I'm like, where's the gun? Because you have Indy's whip with you, right? Which you'll be using a lot, whether it's traverse, up on top of roofs or whatever it might be to get to, an area you can't otherwise access. Yeah. I do have I'll just say this, there's another pro tip I have. So I found definitely with this being in the Vatican or even in the next area that I made it to. So let's say a captain does like discover you. I feel like once that person did discover me, I just kind of ran away fast, and then boom, whatever. Like everybody he just kind of forgot about it or whatever. Like he's like, I'm out of breath. I'm not going to chase you. I'm like, okay, cool. Because I think in the beginning when I was in the Vatican or whatever, and I was trying to do like, let's say a mission or whatever, like, oh, you've been discovered. I just let them beat the snot out of me, right? With their fist. I'm like, okay, I guess it'll reload checkpoint, right? So then it did it most of the time, and then one time it didn't, and then I'm like, oh, whatever, that's cool, whatever. I completed it. I either just need to get out of there stealthily or just run away, So that's always an option. I didn't know that. I didn't even YouTube it. It's just like, fine, I'll just run. I don't care what anybody else thinks. You didn't lose any points or, nothing. Like, I'm sure maybe I missed an achievement or something, right? For not going through the entire game stealthily or something. But, yeah. But I will say there's a negative to that as well. So it's more annoying than anything. And that's where, like, again, super random. Let's say a captain actually spots you or whatever, but the circle's not all the way around. And that's where, like, you'll have to be facing that enemy himself, right? So then you'd be like, okay, he didn't fully discover me. The circle around his head is not red or whatever because you went hid behind a tree or a truck or whatever it was, right? But the part that kind of gets me is, like, unlike Hitman, right? It has that audible sound, that air escaping hiss or whatever. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I think it even shows in the back of your head. Well, this game does not. So you got to keep that in mind too. Like, maybe if you do want to kind of get away without being discovered, I think you have to actually walk backwards, if that makes sense. Because I've done that in the game where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to walk from here to there or whatever. And then this captain like discovers me. I'm like, wait, I don't remember this. Like, what happened? Whatever. So it was turning red behind me. Maybe they can do a fix for that. I just say that's a little negative. But again, when you go back in and reload checkpoint or whatever, right? Let's say he actually kills you. You'd have to really let him like beat the tar out of you or whatever. You could take a lot of hits. He's not there the next time around. So probably unless you're playing on extremely hard difficulty. So there's that. But yeah, other than that, the game's great. The Vatican looks really cool, and there's the Sistine Chapel. Yeah, art style is really cool. I did pick up like this camera earlier, or bought an actual old style type camera, because we're talking about, the Vatican 1937 here, right? So just an old clicky camera. And I think you get points for that, or you get money or something like that, or because that can get you to buy other stuff. And sometimes you need that money, I guess, for items or what have you. So yeah, I don't know if you're actually gonna probably need them, but besides that, like when you're exploring throughout the world, you're gonna find money. And I think you can't. It's probably a sin as well to not steal money from people in the Vatican when they're around, because they will get upset. I found that out. I think the thing popped up and like, if you steal money in front of people, they're going to notice, they're going to get upset or whatever. So yeah, make sure you're in stealth mode, guys, when you actually go in there and try to rob people. Whatever, it's just money laying on a table or on a crate or something. Yeah. And there are little like side missions within that. It might be like, oh, you got to go find a book, for Sister Mary. Mary needs a book that she needs. And they're pretty, I feel like those are pretty quick, the way those side missions go. Yeah, those were cool. I think it's like, find a way into this area without being detected or whatever, Again, here we go with the Hitman stealth, right? Like it's cool the way it works out. And and so with that it said, right, I like it in that regard, because it's not like that person, I feel like, can be, I don't know, I'm going to say about maybe 40 feet away from you and they don't see you, right? like you could sit there and wave to them or whatever. Like, yeah, you got to be really close for them to detect you, I think. Yeah, it's pretty generous in that regard. But again, make sure you're facing them directly to make sure they're not detecting you, right? Because if they see you from behind, right, and that circle going around their head is going to get red really quick. So always keep your eyes open. But yeah, I like the exploration. I like all the different, like, I don't want to call them caves, but different tombs you can discover within the Vatican itself. So that's pretty cool. And that brings up puzzles, right? And for the puzzles, I feel like those are easy as well. I did not YouTube one time, guys, and I hate puzzle games, right? I'm usually like, fine, just get me on the YouTube, show me exactly what I need to do so I can get through this. But no, I felt like they were pretty easy. There was a few times where kind of towards the end of the Vatican mission where I'm like, all right, what the hell am I supposed to do with these stinking statues, right? Like, I think I got lucky a couple times, especially with the statue things where, like, okay, make them both face each other or whatever, because once you click on something and you turn it to a certain place, boom, you hear a door opening. You got it right. So, yeah, like there's only so many options, right? So that was pretty easy. And they were cool too. Like the way it, like, when you're with another female companion who's like a reporter, and she's like, oh, you did it, let's go in there, like, yeah, so you're kind of exploring, and then she can help you out as well with a couple puzzles as well. Not that she's dropping hints or whatever, but where, like, oh, you might have to hand her something to where she can give it to you on the other side of, like, some bars or whatever that's gated off or something. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like that, just being underneath this area of the Vatican that was like really sick. It was a lot of fire and shit going on. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. So now I've made it to Egypt, went on the blimp, and that was a fun ride. And, the story kind of progresses from there. So that's kind of where I'm at for now. So I'm sure I'm going to be exploring more pyramids and tombs and, finding out more about the Great Circle. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure from what people were saying about the reviews about like, it doesn't sound like I really need a gun. Yeah, I'm fine with just like beating the tar out of people, using my whip. That's cool. So yeah, I think the most I've ever fought like is like 3 people at once or whatever, and it's like they kind of take their turns, right? It's not like they're all 3 of them pounce on you at once. Especially if one of them, I'll say this, like again with the minor spoiler back in the Vatican, right? Like, yeah, a lot of the military does have weapons, right? Whether they're holding some kind of assault rifle or they have, holstered pistols or whatever. I think some of that was probably like more story stuff where like, hey, they're not shooting at you. They'll actually put their weapons away and like pull up their dukes. Seriously, they're just like, let's scrap. I'm like, okay, like you've got weapons, you've got guns, but I thought maybe they want to go easy on you, even on the medium difficulty. And I'm like, cool, let's go to toe to toe. This is Indiana, baby. I'm going to knock some teeth out, And, but yeah, I thought it was cool. And I feel like it's pretty easy, like, especially if you're using a controller. I'm using the Xbox One controller. And yeah, if you just kind of like hold left or right trigger, yeah, and then it just kind of gives that power punch. And yeah, it's just like the movies. The same audible sound clip, right, of that punch or whatever is exactly like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, and I think it's like LB or something on the shoulder button. That's kind of like a block, but it's also a parry. I don't know. I guess if you timed it right, it's a parry. So yeah, you'll kind of give him a 1 to the gut, and yeah, still kind of working on that. I haven't fought a whole lot of people, right? It's just been more, more exploration, more story. Yeah, like a lot of dialogue, puzzles, right? It hasn't been a lot of like fighting. And so on with the whip, right? I think if the enemy does have a weapon, you can actually like whip that weapon right out of their hands, right? Whether it be a little bat or whatever. Which they have in the Vatican. They've got these little batons, right? You can just whip that right out of their hands. It's kind of cool. So I heard also if you do have a weapon, I think I know how to throw it. Yeah, it might be like something like right Y and right trigger. I don't know what the fuck it is, right? So then yeah, like let's say you did throw like a fucking bat or baton, whatever, at an enemy, they can actually catch it in their hands. So be careful. Yeah, they'll catch it and be like, I'm going to use this on your face. So yeah, there's that. I haven't tried that yet. There's probably an achievement for it. So I should just go ahead and, get that weapon out and throw it at an enemy, see what happens. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I like it. I didn't have to knock it down to baby mode, guys. Normal mode is fucking awesome. Works great. So yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else on that? No, I think I've talked about that as much. Yeah, still just a great game. Yeah, I think it's available on everything over on Xbox and I guess coming soon to PlayStation. So that's what I heard. Yeah, I think they even do an announcement for PlayStation 5. So there's that. But yeah, it's on Steam and Xbox. But the other game I want to talk about, I don't think we talked about this when it did launch, and that is Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. I never played the first one. I don't know what the first one is. I think it was whatever. Trying to think of the name of the first one. It might have come out in 2007. But anyway, this is made by GSE Game World, and they are based in Ukraine. But due to the war that started with Russia invading their country, they moved to Prague. Prague, is that Italy or is that another country? I don't even know where Prague is. But that's where they've been working on the game, and that's why it got delayed. And here it launched here a few weeks ago. Maybe it's been a month now. Who knows? But yeah. So I've of course, have been playing this with an Xbox One controller over on PC Game Pass, and so far it's good. Like it's like not the greatest. It had a lot of bugs, but I would say the only bugginess for me was like it after playing it for like I feel like an hour, like it started to chug a little bit. Like I don't know, I wouldn't say screen tearing or whatever, but like yeah, it was certainly like chugging. I don't know if it was just like my CPU, like what's going on here, you know? Like the graphics were fine. But yeah, hopefully they fix that. I know it had a lot of other bugs and they fixed like 650 other different things like, you know, on day one. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it seems like there's a lot more to go if it's that buggy. But there were some people that did like, you know, earlier reviews and they weren't able to like complete missions. That's how buggy it was. Not every mission, but it was just like story stuff. So yeah, but as far as I know, they've already gotten like at least 3 different patches, you know, since launch. I haven't played it in probably 2 weeks, but yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it though, because it took me a minute to kind of ease into it where, you know, this is that, you know, first person, you know, it's not like you've got like unlimited ammo or whatever, but even when you first start off the game, it's like, oh, and by the way, I think I'm playing on just whatever medium, regular difficulty. I think there's like rookie and veteran. I thought, no, I'm not gonna knock this down in the baby mode. I'm gonna try this on normal difficulty. I'm gonna make it all the way through. So yeah, like I don't think I need to yet. So and I don't believe I might have like, oh, I think I did have to YouTube something at first because I was like, what the hell am I doing wrong? You know, with this game is like what it's trying to ask me to do in the beginning of the game. Because in the beginning of the game, not much of a spoiler here. You see it on different things where you've got this like, is it a scanner? You know, that might detect anomalies. But we'll talk about more on that stuff later in the game because there's still a lot I don't know about this scanner and how you're picking up these things. And I don't even know what the hell you're even supposed to do. I think some of them goes into your inventory, you know, and they're like, they could just be different buffs. It's basically what they could be. Not the anomalies themselves, but like whatever it is they're having you pick up. So I forgot what they're actually called. But it could just be like, I don't know, better with guns, you know, or like more health or whatever bullshit. So, you know, you take less radiation, and there's a lot of radiation in the game, right? A lot of radioactive areas, you know, you should probably, you know, stay away from. There are things like consumables that you can take that will, you know, alleviate some of the radiation, you know, that you're taking in. But either way, so yeah, like man, like even in the beginning of the game, like this enemy's kind of coming at you, and like he's invisible. You're like, what the fuck, right? So then like even I was watching like the video, like, oh, you have to like back inside the building and back yourself into a wall and just get ready for it to like appear, you know. It does kind of give this like silhouette thing to it. And so I'm like, wow, like shit, it took like 2 clips to kill this fucking enemy. What the hell? So yeah, so then this is like my first kind of playthrough session, right, where I'm like, all right, kind of progressing through the game a little bit, like what do I need to do with this like thing to upload or whatever, like through the freaking satellite thing, you know, like I didn't know where to place it. Yeah, so I had to Google that, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I think we're kind of, and that's probably the last time. Once I figured that out, like, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and play the game. No need to YouTube or fucking look for a guide or anything. Just kind of go with it, right? So and there's a lot of stuff out there, right? You can feel like, where's the best guns to find and all that stuff. I want to stay away from that. I really do. I haven't found like what's the best armor and vest and weapons or whatever. Nope. I want to find it naturally. Hopefully I can through exploration, because I love exploration games. And so, yeah, you'll get to an area where it kind of like, just before it kind of opens up, and you know, and you're kind of talking to this character about where he's like, hey, you know, these things are anomalies, you gotta watch out, right? So basically what an anomaly is like, this may be an area, you know, in the open world or just in the game or whatever. It could be like some lightning or just like this bubble thing, right? you can kind of barely see it, but you can definitely hear it through your scanner, which you don't have to have that thing equipped or whatever, just like this audible sound, right? And he's like, you got to pick up these bolts and throw the bolts at it, and then they disappear for like 3 seconds, and then you can kind of run through. Well, I'm like, all right, this seems kind of lame, but it works, I'll say that. Like, and again, you're not using the bolts all the freaking time. I don't know if you just have an unlimited number of bolts. I assume you do. They'll probably be in your weapons wheel, I think. I think you'll definitely see those, and you can just, there probably is an unlimited number, and then you can just throw them at them, and to kind of get through an area that might be fire, whatever, elemental damage, or but I found, like, definitely in the open world, like, once it opens up, and not the whole world, right? It just could be like a sector where you're kind of like going back and forth from each different mission. I thought that would just be annoying as shit, but it actually wasn't, because I knew where the anomalies were. I heard them coming. I just sidestep it and go around it, and easy enough, right? So not annoying in that part. But I would say, like, when you're in a like a bunker or like a cave or something, you're definitely going to want to use the bolts to, get through a little area, because you're just in a fucking corridor or whatever. Like, you'll have to use it once or twice or whatever. Just to kind of get through, no problem, right? Otherwise, if you do run into an anomaly, it's going to do, like, probably take half your health. It sucks, right? Because you've only got so many med kits, or, so much food on you or whatever that's going to heal you up. Because that's another thing, right? Make sure you've got enough, first aid packs and all that good stuff. So you're definitely going to need them out here in the open world. And fast traveling, I don't know. I heard there is fast traveling. I haven't made it to any fast travel points. So I heard that it is a thing in the game. I don't know where to unlock it or how to access it or whatever. I definitely need to open up the game a lot more through the story. So I'm kind of at an area now where I'm supposed to go to the stronghold. Basically, it looks like a factory. And I've already completed that. I've already opened up the second or third sector in the game. I don't know how many sectors there are. Looks like there's at least like 10. I don't know. Just going off memory here. So it's a long game. So definitely try not to use all your ammo, I would say. But definitely having fun with the game. There's some anomalies where I'm like, they're so large. I'm like, okay, I probably have to come back to that. And also the thing with the scanner and finding these different abilities, because I forgot the actual name of the stinking thing that you're supposed to pick up. I know those are scattered around the world, and some are really good and helpful and useful. And so, I'm definitely looking forward to playing a lot more of this game. It's just like, Indiana Jones, and has taken a lot of my time. And sometimes I just don't want to dive into a AAA game and play it for 3 hours at a time, but definitely feeling the need to go back and play more of it. So, I'll say this, like, in your first area that you, what would I call it? I'm not a bastion, but more of a little town that you kind of unlock, and you'll have like a trader, a medic, right? The medic just kind of like, I don't know, let's say if you came back, you don't want to use a health kit, just go see him, right? He'll patch you right back up to full health. There's the trader. There's where you can pick up some of the main missions. What else in there? There's the weapons guy or whatever. He's more the, where you can actually do trading, and purchase new weapons. I haven't found any weapons that I want to buy off the guy that's like any better than what I found in the world. Also, I'll say this, like, a lot of the weapons that you kill on the characters, and again, you've only got so much space in your inventory, right? But like, they'll show like broken. They'll have like a red thing to show like, oh, this AK-47 is broken. I don't even know what to do with those weapons because the trader won't take them. I've just been throwing them on the ground, or I just leave them there. So like inside, I just kind of like, I've got weapons scattered all over the ground where I'm like, okay, I guess maybe they'll be useful later on. You do have like a little chest that I wouldn't say it's an armory. It's more of a chest that you can use, and you can put some things in. Whether it be weapons or vest or guns or ammo. I try to keep all the ammo on me, and keep in mind, like, you've got a weight scale, right? You don't want to carry too much crap, because if it slows you down, I mean, you got to be doing some serious running to get away from some of these creatures, or evade some of the soldiers, right? Or that might be scattered across the world. And yeah, like, I try to keep it at like that medium weight limit, right? So at least I'm not like getting tired or whatever. I might need more stamina or what have you. Oh yeah, there is like definitely in the game where you can get like energy drinks. Yeah, you can take those for obviously more stamina. And I'll say this is pretty funny. So I was playing again a couple weeks ago. I go into this area. I think this is before the patch. So you've got these quick slots, and again on your controller itself, right on the D-pad. So if you press left on the D-pad, that is like your what do you call it? Like your quick health regen, right? So then boom, that'll be like a fucking needle, just poof, right, to kind of give you that the health you need. And then I think if you hold left on the D-pad is like, again, where you put that hotkey of where, okay, it might be something else that's health related, but it could be food or something, right? Like, so for example, if that runs out, I'm just going to tell you right now, like, let's say that, yeah, your quick health runs out, it'll put like a can of like fish or sardines in that slot, right? Automatically. So then if like there's some enemies out there and they're like trying to fire on you, and let's say you find cover and you're like, oh man, I need that quick hit of health, right? Like, oh shit, I'm out. He pulled out a can of sardines. And when he pulls it out, we're talking about like pulls the can out, rips the aluminum lid back, gets the fork out or knife or whatever you're using, and of course by that time the enemy's like, yeah, you're dead. Like, I'm just going to kill you right here, And you couldn't get out of not the animation, but it wouldn't let you finish, or like you couldn't press Y or whatever really quick to get out of it. Like, it would just kind of finish off. So I think they did fix that part of it. Because yeah, that happened to me a couple times where, again, you're early on in the game. It's not like you've got a lot of health, right? Or like health packs, right? But I'm like, what the hell? And I'm trying to run. And I think even if you're running, you're still eating the freaking fish, It's like, stop. I want to pull my freaking gun up, Yeah, to try to kill the enemy. And then there's like, shoot, now you're out of cover, right? So then you've got 3 other enemies that have got the beat on you. Yeah, so then I think they fixed that. Man, but it kind of reminded me of like, if anybody ever played oh gosh, I almost said Days Gone, but not 7 Days to Die. Holy crap, what am I thinking of? The game is just on Steam or whatever. Crap, I know it came to Game Pass as well, but it just kind of had that same like inventory style, to the game, and the way that you actually would eat a consumable or whatever. But yeah, I'm sure this game's like a lot of other first person action shooter games. Just none of them come to mind. So right now, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Enjoy the open world element of it. So anything open world, I'm all about it, man. So give me more to explore. I want to find cool shit, stock up on ammo and whatever. So yeah, I think that's probably the one good thing with the trader himself is you could definitely go in and like get more ammo or purchase it, because there are some things that you can trade, whether they be little shotguns or pistols that you might find, that because not everything is like completely broken, right? And there is the guy that does the what is it, like he does like the weapon enhancement, so it's not like he doesn't fix broken weapons, but he will definitely like upgrade them for you. I don't know about the materials for it or where to find them, so all a mystery to me right now. Yeah, so I'll say this in the beginning, right, when I went to the weapons guy or whatever, I forgot what he's actually called. I kept going in there thinking like, is there like a crafting table, right? Because every time I talk to him, And with every character, right, you're like, what's new going down in town, right? Like that's always like the default standard question, right? And I didn't notice like the trade thing in the bottom right corner, especially even with that character where I'm like, oh shit. Like I think I had to YouTube that. I'm like, when the hell how do I do this? Like I know I should be able to do this, right? And it's like, oh, you have to actually do trade or whatever. And I think you're just purchasing the like the materials from him or something to that effect, right? So yeah, there's no crafting table. Like yeah, and a lot of it's just kind of like trade, and some of the wordage like in the game is a little funny, right? Where even with your chest, like you're trying to think like how the hell do I, you're thinking like in Diablo, right? Like how do I put things in my chest? Boom, boom. It easily says put them in the chest, right? Where no, this game is like actually like I think it says put down. Like I guess literally you are kind of putting it down because the chest is open. Like yeah. So little things like that, right? Where again we're talking about a Ukrainian developer versus like Western, right? So yeah, probably all had to be converted over to English. But yeah, so that's the other thing I did as well is I changed the language to Ukrainian. Yeah, the English ones are, I guess they're not the greatest. Everybody recommended, hey, just put it in Ukrainian and then just do English subtitles. So that's exactly what I've done. So that's how I've been playing ever since. Yeah, I can always just read it, right? And then listen to how they speak in Ukrainian like they normally would play the game. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm glad they patched it. So going to play more of that. Moving on over to Forza Horizon 4. I haven't been playing racing games that much or haven't been into them. I've been more into shooters and indie games and what have you. So what possessed me to play some more Forza Horizon 4 and not Horizon 5? Well, that's the fact that it's being delisted on everything. So on Steam, on PC Game Pass, and I assume also on the Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X. I thought about it. I thought, well, you know what? They'll probably just delist it, remove some of the music, and then probably bring the game back. And I thought, no, actually, they probably won't. Crap. Because they never port forwarded some of the games from the original Forza game, right? That might have had music. And I went, oh shit, I probably should need to buy this. So I noticed on Steam, it was like $12 for like, you didn't get everything, but like, I forgot what the actual DLC was, right? It might have been like tier 1 motorsports pass or whatever, right? So I assume I'm probably just going to get more cars out of it. Yeah, could have been like a year-end edition or whatever that I purchased. So, right, it was like $12, but normally, $74. So I thought that's a great deal. And you could have got it for like $8 or something for the vanilla game itself. But I haven't been able to figure out how to install it. I tried to do that yesterday, and for some reason it brings you back to the store. So I know I paid for it, so hopefully the game recognizes it. I'm going to go back in after the show and check that out, make sure that it actually works. I don't know how I'll get a refund because when I went into the store today, like it clearly says this game does not exist. So I don't think it exists anywhere. Probably not even on the Xbox One. Or I keep saying Xbox One, right? I think it launched on that. Over on the Series X. So yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think that this one was it Forza Horizon 4? I think that's when I started doing the Game Pass, right? Because Horizon 3, I actually purchased every game leading up to Forza Horizon 4. So I probably don't even own it over there. But so I'm happy. I have it on Steam. I've got the, the game with some DLC, and yeah. I don't know how much progress I actually made over there, but so this one's definitely, where is this one based out of? England, mate. It's over in the UK, Great Britain, featuring some regions from Scotland, England, and Wales. And what's cool is they actually have my name in there. My name is Henley, so they just have HEN, and I'm like, oh, great. They remembered me from Henley-on-Thames, right? The Thames River. So, yeah, my homeland, people. So I'm out there, doing stunts and completing races. The open world bit, I've said this before, it's not like exactly like, oh, I just love the open world of all these racing games. It's cool, but it can get bored really quick if you're not actually going to an objective or doing anything, which I've done before, like with the Forza Horizon series, where I'm like, man, this gets boring just driving around or whatever. It could be a cool car even, right? It doesn't take very long. So I always need like an objective, right? And always for my objectives are always going to be the races. And there are definitely plenty of them. So that is definitely like the carrot on the stick for me, where it's like, oh, cool, new race pops up, right? You complete 2 and 4 more pop up. And it's always like the shorter races. I think Forza Horizon 3 or 2, I think it was 2, right? That just had these like some extremely long like races, right? That were just like, oh my gosh, like how long are these things? 10 fucking 20 minutes long, right? Of like cross country. Like shit, I better get rewind ready, because that's what I normally choose is no rewind and braking line only. So that gives me a boost of like a 50% in XP. So yeah, those are the two that I always go with. I never want to use rewind. To me, it just feels fake. I only activate them during a cross-country race, which are extremely long because, if other racers, again, AI, get in there and, they definitely get way in front, and it's almost like you might as well just restart the race. I feel like it's a lot easier, in some of these shorter races where it's like, fine, just go ahead and restart. And, because the races are not that long, only a couple of minutes. That's, again, my favorite. You get into a regular race, the game shows you and the other cars, and it just says go. Like, there is no, like, 3, 2. No, it's just like, boom. Just already have your finger on the right trigger on the controller and just go. I never have to tune any cars or change tires or do any of that crap, right? It's not like your standard Forza Motorsport game, which I kind of fell off of, right? I used to play a lot of Forza Motorsport, especially Forza Motorsport 7, I was really into. And this latest one is like, I guess if I get around to it, I'll play it, where the Horizon series is just a lot more fun, right? Shorter races, there's no racing tracks. Not traditionally. There are in there, but most of them are all off-road. And even if they do have a road race, right, it'll be like road race time. You're still going in off-roading, kind of, sort of, right? Maybe some dirt, but not exactly mud. So, yeah. And and it even says, like, even in the beginning, right, after I get through about 7 or 8 races, like, hey, you're doing too damn good. Raise the Drivatar difficulty, right? Which is like the difficulty of like either you or the others. And I'm like, sure, let's go ahead and do it. I still come in mostly first place, right? With them, 1 or 2 of them just right on my tail. For most races, right? I might drop that down. We'll see. I like to come in first, especially in the top 3, Then I'm happy. I'm good with it. I like the challenge. Give it to me. So, yeah. Hopefully a lot of you guys did know that and either made the purchase, beforehand. So, because you can always re-download it if you own it. But if you had it on Game Pass, or you probably even moved on, right, to Forza Horizon 5 by that point. Or maybe some of you listening have actually bought like a disc, and there's no need for any of that downloading stuff. Yeah. Moving on to another racing game, because I just had the racing bug for some reason. And this is a game called Distance, and I would say it's not actually only on Steam now, and apparently it came to the PlayStation 5. I didn't know this, but I picked this up like 5 years ago, whatever. It was just like a little indie game on Steam, and it didn't even feel like a full-fledged game even at the time. I think Maya bought it too. And so, yeah, of course I was playing it on my old Hobo PC, right? With an Xbox controller. And again, I tried it with the Xbox controller and the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. Yeah, and it just went wacky on me for some reason, especially with the DualSense. I think there's something wrong with the update with Windows 11, but I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, distance. It's really cool. So firing this game up, it's like, hey, there's actually a campaign, there's an arcade mode, there's multiplayer, and there's a modded thing on the Steam Workshop, which I think it did have that in the beginning. And so if you go into that modded section, it's basically tracks, and there is like 4,000 of them. So there's many hours of this game you can enjoy, which is insane, especially with those modded tracks. So I think I tried one of them or whatever, but since my controllers weren't working, I put the game down and then I came back to it yesterday, and the Xbox controller worked for the most time. And before I said, fuck it, I was like, these controllers are like taking a dump on me for some reason. Well, I don't think it's that. But either way, back to distance. It's a lot of fun. It's cool. What makes the difference is it's got like this sci-fi look to it. I don't know what kind of car you're driving. It looks like an Audi, maybe a futuristic Audi. Yeah, it's just like you just get that one car, right? And it's not like you're changing colors to it or whatever. You can in the mods. You can play as different cars with that, but like in the vanilla part of it, it's just kind of like a cool looking Audi car, and it's like a sports car. And so yeah, you're kind of basically just like going along this track, and again in that different view of whatever you want, first person, third person, right? Kind of like Forza, right, where you can just kind of back it out a little bit, the camera. I don't think it has like a first person. I shouldn't say that. So could be wrong on that. I don't think this game would work too well because you always want that third person view, because when you're coming up onto a track where it's kind of saying, hey, like you have to press and it's not like you're using the brakes a lot either. You're either on the gas or you're on the nitro, right, with the A button. And like you'll see like this thing where it's like, hey, press X to jump, right? So over this like little ledge that just happens to be in the middle of the road, and they just obviously they put these here intentionally. It might be 1, 2, and then it's like a straightaway for a long time, and different curves and bends in the road, and it's throwing other little things at you, like the cool voice acting where it's talking about like you are going to be teleporting to another dimension. It's just that super cool. I wouldn't say cyberpunk look to it, but it just does have a really neat look to it. But you might finish a level and it goes into the next one, and like it's not telling you. It only tells you like the beginning, I think, of a level when it introduces like a new ability, right? Like for example, like, oh hey, when you get to this part right here, you have to, what is it like? Press the B button once or something, or the X button once, and that'll enable flying, right? So you're flying through these like hoops. And so, man, I had to invert the freaking controller setting on that because it was definitely throwing me off. Because you might fly through 3 of them right before you actually get to land, onto the actual track itself. It's kind of cool. So there were some parts where I'm like, oh shit, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to crash. And I did, right? It just kind of resets you. Not exactly at the beginning, right? Like, but just before, like you need to actually like jump off or something. So, yeah, there's something, right, where I didn't have enough runway space, right, to where I needed to jump further. So I actually had to go back the other direction, right? And it would say you're going the wrong way. I'm like, no kidding, because you fucking set me all the way too far in the front, you dimwits. It's like, so I'd go all the way back a little bit, right? And then actually get like an actual boost, right? Because it might have been like a, area where I couldn't get to the part where I needed to fly or boost or something, right? Or jump and boost. Yeah, like little things like that. They probably just need to work on, because that was in the regular campaign. But yeah, easy fix, right? Just go back. And it wasn't like I saw a timer. I'm sure there was, right? Like a speed run thing, but I didn't see it on my screen. So I don't like that anyway. So don't give me some fucking timer where you were like 50 seconds slower than everybody else that actually logged on to this in the leaderboards. I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't care. So I think that's something for like Trackmania, But yeah. So as long as I can get through it, I think it's more of that, like, I feel like it's also a visual experience with this game, more or less, right? Yeah, I'm sure those tracks actually get longer and longer and more difficult. So yeah, but I'm having fun with it. I'm sure I'll finish the campaign. I really hope I do. Depending on the difficulty. There is no difficulty setting, right? It's just kind of like go through each one, and it just shows you like, hey, you've unlocked, these different tracks. You can actually go back to them too. I don't know if you can just go back and get a better score. I didn't even see that part. Like, again, it didn't show me a stat. So, yeah, but it's possible. You can go back into it and maybe just redo it or something. But again, I feel like, hey, once I've already passed it, I'm not getting a new car, right? Or something different. So I don't feel like there's a reason to go back to it. So I just go to the next one, what I need to do. And I think that's probably the intention, right? Because there are 4,000 other tracks that you can try on the modded thing. Yeah, but next week this week actually, I'll definitely try the arcade and the multiplayer, see how that plays out. So yeah, great game. So yeah, play that on Steam or the PlayStation 5. I'm sure eventually it'll come to Xbox. I don't see why not. So yeah. Let's see. But that's kind of all I had for like games I played. But yeah, onto that issue I was talking about with my computer and my controllers. So I think this started like I did that update from Friday to the 13th. Of course, I did it on Saturday. And because I don't think I had an issue with controllers leading up to this point until after that stinking update. And of course, hey, I've deleted the controllers and then, reconnected them. But yeah, and then they just like, for example, like the PS5 DualSense controller, like it wouldn't work playing distance. It wouldn't work playing. No, it didn't work playing Returnal either. A couple weeks ago, I don't know. It would like cut out, like certain buttons wouldn't work. I don't know if it's something on Steam or. I know I was watching a video. It's like, oh, you've got to enable it. You've got to enable it on Steam, right? Like, yeah, like I don't think you can kind of go back and forth. Is kind of what they're saying. Of course, they didn't say that, but I'm gonna assume that's the case, right? Where it's like, hey, I might pick up an Xbox controller one day and play Returnal, or pick up the DualSense controller one day and play it. But either way, both controllers are like. And I'm not having them on at the same exact time. Like, that's not the issue, right? It's just they'll disconnect. Yeah, like the right trigger will stop working. Like, it's just weird. Like, I don't know. I think that Saturday update did something. The other thing too, I might have screwed something up because I turned my Steam Deck on at the same time, guys, as my desktop Steam app is running, right? And so I noticed over on the Steam Deck, like, hey, it's just like doing a network transfer, and it just like randomly installed games onto my Steam Deck, which I thought was odd. And I don't know if it had something to do with the family sharing, that I do with my son, or the fact that I had them both on at the same time and it thought I wanted those games installed. And it's like, no, I stop installing all these games, right? I don't know. I couldn't even tell you, like, it didn't install all of them. It was just like certain ones. So yeah, it was really weird. And then I think even on the desktop version, it was saying like, we're transferring games. And I'm like, what the fuck? Don't transfer the games, right? I don't want to lose any progress on something, but it actually didn't, right? Like the games just stayed on the desktop. So I did have to go in and delete a few games that I know for a fact they do not work on the Steam Deck, right? Not everything is Steam Deck certified. Some do not work at all completely. Some you have to do a lot of work to them on the Steam Deck itself in order to get them to work. I haven't done that personally. Like, that's something like beyond me. There's YouTube videos out there you can watch, and and configuring files and downloading the Proton 9.9 and getting the latest unstable version of SteamOS. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of work. I don't know if I want to fuck my Steam Deck up, Like, there's been things I have put on Steam Deck. Like, there's a few things on there that are like, what is it called? Ready Deck, and like there's a couple other things, right? That kind of where you can basically add like the Epic launcher games to your Steam Deck. I've done stuff like that, or there's other things that you can just like, I don't know, it just kind of, I don't want to call them visual enhancements, but just different things that, you know, you can otherwise do with your deck that you couldn't do on a vanilla regular deck. Nothing that's going to like mess it up, right? Because I've noticed every time the Steam Deck updates, then it gets rid of it. So I'm like, where the hell did that thing go that I had, you know, that everybody recommended? Like, oh, the update deleted it or whatever, or broke it or something, you know? Sort of like, you know, the Edge Game Pass or something, right? That you can add that non-Steam game to your library so that you can have Game Pass on your Steam Deck. You know, that was back before, I think it's like, that was officially on there. I don't know. I don't have Ultimate anymore, so I haven't been able to try it. I actually can't do any cloud gaming, just on PC Game Pass, that's it. But yeah, that would break through updates. So it's like, oh man, like, I guess you have to keep redoing it every time there's an update that you apply to your Steam Deck. So yeah, still a lot I'm learning from the Steam Deck. It's not something I play a lot of on. If you guys see, you know, if anything, I'm playing stuff that's already verified. What is it? Core Keeper, Brotato, Vampire Survivors, Deep Rock Galactic Survivors. You know, like these are like my go-to games. And other than that, it's just been like, hey, I need to get resources for Satisfactory. So I know I've got some factories running and my power is stable. I'll let it run on the Steam Deck for about, 4 or 5 hours. Like, I'm not playing the game. It's just kind of like, again, just like these are just like my things that are being crafted, right? Machines are going. They're making resources that I'm going to need when I actually get ready. So, yeah, I think I've got like, I don't know, man. I probably got like 10,000 computers. So then I'm going to make like supercomputers. But yeah, that's a game Satisfactory. I haven't gone really back and like done what I'm supposed to be doing in the game, like getting these aluminum sheets or whatever. So I don't know, because I got to build a railroad or a long ass conveyor belt. I just don't want to do it. So I love all the mods for the game that I can download, right? Because those are working again. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like every time I fire the game up, I'm like, this is going to take me like 3 hours, to build something that I want, right? That's going to look half decent. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I want to invest that much time, right? I've already put 1,300 hours into this game. So yeah, I usually just fire it up, look at my factories running and think, okay, eventually I'll build a runway, or maybe I've seen Ghost Nico do it before too. He just made like these extremely long conveyor belts. And I was like, maybe I should do that this time, right? Because I do have a little train running to get coal. No. Oh, it's getting plastic, right? It's getting plastic from my coal oil factory, right? And so I do have some oil running to make some generators for fuel. And other than that, yeah, the other stuff is being made plastic and rubber. So it's not a very long train that comes along. So it just kind of comes to my main grasslands base where I kind of like do a lot of stuff. I like everything kind of nice and close, right? So I'm not doing a whole lot of traveling through hypertubes and all that good stuff. So yeah, that game's such a time sink, right? Like I don't know. I want to play other games, guys. That's why I've been branching out, right? Trying to, get as much time into Stalker 2 and Indiana Jones and Returnal, and yeah. So, so speaking of that, I did install last week. I bought another NVMe 2 terabyte hard drive, and so I already had one installed. But my gosh, as you know, we do the podcast. I have to keep deleting some of the shows and clips and stuff, right? And games take a lot of space. I don't have a lot of videos, game clips. That's another thing too. So I'll start with that. So game clips, right? I don't do a lot of those. I do have pictures that are really old We're talking like, 9 years old, right into my Microsoft OneDrive. And I need to find a new home for them because I know they changed their like storage space, which is free, right? I think you only get like 100 megabytes or some crazy shit, right? Or I don't know, what is it, half a terabyte? It's like 500 gigs or whatever it is. Or let me see, how much is it? So it's but either way, so I had to like delete a bunch of shit. I downloaded some videos or whatever, which were like game videos. And yeah, so that I don't know. And then even Steam, I think it's going into like my OneDrive or something. Like I might have it set up there for some reason. So then, yeah, I'm just trying to do more local stuff. And like my son had recommended like another website. It's called Mega something or rather. I think it's pretty safe. Like, you get 20 free gigs or whatever it is, or 200 or something. But I trust Microsoft, right? I've had them for years, and it's where I put a lot of stuff. I just don't want to pay the $7 a month or $79 a year. I'm just trying to avoid that. So, yeah, like another subscription service. So I think I'm just going to fill up these, this hard drive as much as possible and keep anything really sensitive or something I really need to access, over on, the OneCloud or the Google Drive or something, right? But as far as shows go, video games, that's all going to go on these hard drives. And I shouldn't have to worry about paying for a subscription service. Another one, right? I already give you enough money, Microsoft, okay? So yeah, that was kind of a pain in the butt, right? Because I think I was being like stubborn, right? When it came to like, why is this thing not recognizing the second drive, right? Like I saw it in the hardware changes when I installed it, right? So, and of course, installing it, that requires you to take your PC apart, or at least take the graphics card out, undo all the screws, place that in there. I don't think there was anything that I really had to do like in the BIOS, like that. I did fire that up, like, okay, it shows in the BIOS, right? It shows you've got an exact copy of what you had before, right? I'm like, cool. So it shows in there, it shows in the hardware, but then there's something else like where you have to initiate it. I don't know, like, yeah, because it's not like you can just fire up Steam or Game Pass, right, and say install, right? It won't show up. It'll be blank, right? Like you just only get the default C drive. So I figured that part out through the videos, right? Because I didn't do what they told me to do initially, which was like, format the drive from, this, this application or whatever it shows up in Windows. So I was like, so totally frustrated. So yeah, I had to do the same thing for, I have was it 3 terabytes or I can't remember what it is. So it was like a HDD drive, an old fucking spin drive that Mayo gave me. That thing is like, I think Mayo called it Old Betsy, right? Because it like fucking runs great. I can still hear it right now, actually, and they're cranking away. So I don't really technically have anything on it. I'm thinking about, that's going to be for whatever. That could just be for like maybe personal videos or like mostly it's going to be for like game videos, right? That's where I want to keep those things because those take a ton of space. So that's where those are going to be kept, right? Because I think I did delete Call of Duty on Game Pass, right? It's like I think I had to make room for Indiana Jones, if I'm not mistaken, or without compromising other things. Because like I was down to like 100 freaking gigs. I was like, what the hell, like and I'm like, screw it, man. I better get this. It was on Black Friday, I think it was when I picked it up. So I don't know. I think they're always like the same price for these 2 terabyte hard drives. I think they're like 144 or something. Forgot like the speed read write on them, but it was the same exact one that I had picked up when I bought the PC. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm happy about that. So now I've got, let's see how many I've got, like 5 terabytes, right? Or yeah, hopefully, of space. That should be plenty enough. We'll see how that is going forward. But yeah, I definitely like scavenged my old PC and took out the 2 hard drives and put one The 3 terabyte. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Mayo. I think it's a 3 terabyte. That's the old spin drive, but it works great. So then, yeah, that's going to be in there. But let's go ahead and move on here, guys. Just going to get a drink of water. We'll move on to some a little bit more news stuff you know about, mostly already. So some of the stuff I just saw like is recent. But let's see what we got here. So Balatro, the Mayo game over here. Let's see. Says here, Balatro devs clown on Peggy. Peggy 18. The ratings. So Peggy ratings criteria as games with actual gambling are sold to kids. So Balatro is still stuck with its 18 plus rating from Peggy. And its developers frustrated that other games aren't getting the same exact treatment. Why is that? Yeah, exactly, right? Are they talking about like the Slay the Spire and like other, I don't know, other card games, right? Maybe because they're not like traditional poker games. So that would probably be why. So let's see here. The classification board is in charge of game ratings across Europe, obviously. Developer Local Thunk has resurfaced frustrations over the rating jokes, making jokes in a series of tweets that it should add real gambling to lower its rating down to 3+. Like the recently released EA Sports FC25. Right? Like, don't they have, like, some of those games have, especially the EA games, right? Or when it comes to the 2K NBA. I know they have, like, different, like, wheels or whatever. I don't know about actual, like, how the gambling looks on the game. But anyway, it says in here for Peggy's reasoning for the rating, the board singles out the use of real-life poker hands in Balatro, stating that its inclusion could teach players its mechanics for use in real gaming, despite poker just being the basis for Balatro roguelike gameplay. Peggy says its prominent gambling imagery is deserving of its highest adult-only rating. The rating isn't new either. Earlier this year, it was the reason Balatro was suddenly pulled from several console storefronts, as its previous 3+ ratings was changed overnight without prior notice. Local Thunk hasn't let it go, citing a game that several European countries have previously deemed to have gambling elements. EA Sports FC25 contains the same microtransactions and loot box mechanics that has been in the series ever since Ultimate Team was first announced, but maintained its 3+, suitable for all ages, rating. Local Think points to it specifically as a double standard, even joking that Balatro should incorporate the same mechanic in order to get its ratings lowered. that is kind of funny, right? So, that wouldn't happen, Local Thunk, right? You would still be at the same fucking rating. But yeah. Okay, so here's the tweet from Local Thunk. Since Peggy gave us an 18+ rating for having evil playing cards, maybe I should add microtransactions, loot boxes, real gambling to lower that rating to 3+ like EA Sports. They continue to say that the issue wasn't necessarily with Balatro's own ratings, but that other more blatant examples of gambling mechanics for children should be similarly clamped down. The red logo looks kind of dope, concluding the developer, let's see, Balatro's ratings hasn't stopped its meteoric success since launch. The game has sold over 3.5 million copies and won several awards last week. The captivating roguelike is also one of GameSpot's top 10 games of 2024. Yeah, so what are you guys crying about? Fuck, man, you sold 3.5 million copies, man. Quit crying, right? And again, like, you've got the adult rate. I think most of the adults are going to play this game, right? I don't know. Do you see a lot of like 14-year-olds playing card games? Probably not, right? So definitely an adult thing. And I'm sure if they are, it's like, whatever, they're buying it on their consoles and, and their Switches and Steam Decks or whatever. So no big deal on that, folks. Let's see here. Next article we got a rumor, guys. It's a rumor. This is could be fake news. I don't want to give you misinformation here with the Nintendo Switch 2, but it's just a rumor. So disclaimer that it could be launching with 3 different versions. Let's see here. What does it say? According to this latest rumor, the Nintendo Switch 2 could be available in 3 different versions when it finally launches. The internet has been followed with rumors and speculations about the console's successor to the regular Nintendo Switch, since it was officially confirmed by Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa earlier this year. It is believed that Nintendo Switch 2 will retain the console handheld hybrid form of its predecessor, with leaked images seemingly depicting the Switch-like system with new buttons, improved magnetic Joy-Con controllers, and some of the images came from third-party peripheral companies like Satisfy and D-Brand, which are reported already making accessories for the upcoming console. Likewise, fans have already started 3D printing prototype versions of the Switch 2 based on the leaks, which haven't officially verified in any capacity yet. So let's see here. It says that it's claiming that gamers will have a choice between multiple different versions of the system when it eventually hits stores. This comes from an anonymous Reddit user by the handle of Next Handheld. So don't hate me, guys. Go after Next Handheld guy. Yeah, him or her, right? So this is the one putting out the rumors. So Next Handheld claimed to have gotten a hold of a final Switch 2 unit, right? Allegedly, and shared details about their supposed discovery on r/Nintendo Switch 2 mods on the Nintendo Switch 2 dedicated subreddit voucher for the source, claiming that the user provided evidence that they indeed have insider knowledge of the new systems. Boom, boom. There it is right there. Insider knowledge. We've got an insider. So 3 color variants. I just see here, I'm just looking at the picture of like, there's black. Is this like what? I don't know. Maybe that's something different. But I just saw black, but they said 3 different colors. Why don't they share the colors, right? If you've got the insider knowledge, buddy. So here's one of the tidbits shared by Next Handheld. Was that the Nintendo Switch 2 will supposedly come in 3. Okay, we already read that. Okay, one will be gray with black buttons, similar to the final version of the Nintendo Switch that launched in 2017. The second being white. Oh my god, this is like some spoiler stuff right here, guys. We got black and we got white. And then what else? What's the final? The third will be a special edition Switch 2 console themed after a particular game. The leaker didn't reveal what this would be, but speculators think it could be for the next Mario title, like the rumored Mario Kart 9. Is that a rumor, really? I think it's just a matter of when Mario Kart 9 comes out, not a matter of if, right? So, yeah, what would that be? What is the Mario Kart 9 color? Does anybody know? What are they normally? Whatever that color normally is, it's probably red. I'm going to guess red. So, we got black, gray, and red, guys. So, sorry for spoiling that for you. Through the insider, Next Handheld just blew it for everybody. Yeah, definitely going to be like I don't know, it could be a Mario Luigi fucking mansion fucking game. It could be green. Who knows? Nobody knows, right? Mr. Insider Knowledge, I don't think knows shit. So, otherwise he would say, right? He or she would say, they would just say what it is. So, don't knock us around with that, buddy. Just say what it is. So, anyway, Marvel Rivals. Anybody play this? I have yet to download it. Again, I've got the extra space now, guys. I can actually download this game. And the only reason I have it is just because I've been playing so much Indiana Jones, and just other stuff. So, yeah, I'm not a big Overwatch guy, but definitely, you know me, guys. I will download this game. It is free. I will play it, and I'll be like, and then I'll delete it off my hard drive. I'll come on the podcast and be like, everybody, I played it. I played a Spider-Man, and yeah, the game's cool. It's like Overwatch. I don't know. These games are like, I would say, especially way back in the day, 5 years ago, with this podcast, with the community, like anybody that invited me, I'd be like, let's go, like there's no fucking way I'm going to play this game by myself. Right. Like, yeah, just not going to happen. But if anybody invites me, I'm all about it. If it's installed on the hard drive, let's go. Let's do it. Co-op. Yeah, let's join the lobby. Let's get in boys. Let's roll. I'm all about it, right? I mean, those games are fun, right? You don't want to play this by yourself. I don't know. I could be wrong. So maybe it's not that, right? Like, so anyway, so on to the article about Marvel Rivals. So I'll talk about it next week after I play it. So this is obviously a free-to-play hero shooter, right? That has found an audience thanks to a strong lineup of playable characters and the love of all things Marvel, obviously. There's one feature fans have been asking for, and that is called the roll queue. So I had to Google this because I'm like, wait, I think I know what this is, but I'm not 100% what the roll queue is. Because that's definitely like an Overwatch term, or anything that relates to hero shooters, which I really never play. But let's see. One of the major problems fans have noticed is that the team's compositions aren't always optimal. Ideally, you want 1 to 2 vanguards, 2 strategists, 2 to 3 duelists, giving your team balance, right? Between tanks, healers, DPS, as you'd expect. Everyone wants to play the DPS role and do damage. That would be me. That's me. So you're going to hate me, guys, because I'm going to get in there with the tank. I'm going to be the fucking Hulk every time. And I know I'm going to get hate for it, right? Because you always play the Hulk. I wanted you to fucking play the fucking, the Vanguard. Why can't you be Vanguard? And so I think, I don't know. I would have to play this game, but I'd probably be against this, right? Secretly, I would be. I'd be like, no, don't do this to me. But anyway, let's read on to the article. It talks about, whoever this is, speaking with Dot Esports Marvel Rival creator director, I can't even pronounce the name, Guang Chen, was asked if they highly anticipate the feature and would it come to the game. Guang says, right now we're not considering a role queue, he said. The team's goal is to offer a wider variety of team composition through team-up skills and their own designs, to let people play their Marvel Rival superheroes rather than limiting players to choosing a role. So it almost like that kind of makes sense to me. For right now, basically what he's saying is, you know what? This game is in a beta form, right? Like that's what he's saying without saying it. Because I think over the next, I'm going to say 6 months. Well, maybe not 6, right? But if they don't offer like this roll queue thing, right? I think they're clearly going to see like, when they start to see the numbers dwindle in the player count, again, this is my opinion, right? They're going to be like, we're going to offer a roll queue, guys. We need you to come back to the game, right? So, I mean, if that's what drove you away in the beginning, because if, for example, if they don't have it, right, and you're offering more mixed mass of just whatever characters, right, an equal amount of, vanguards and tanks and healers, right? Like, and there's no roll queue. I think, I don't know. I could be wrong on that, right? Like, I think it almost does. I'm kind of split down the middle, right? Because of what's going to keep you playing, right, for the next year or so. And you probably kind of want that, right? Where, like, hey, what are the only available options, right? It might just be healer or whatever. I think it definitely works in Overwatch. Is it just called Overwatch 2 now? I don't know. Or they just call it Overwatch, right? Because it does give a balance, right? And it's like, you want your team to win. You don't want to lose the fucking game, right? So yeah, I think it's a matter of when, right? Not if. I think they're just not ready to do it yet for some reason. I think because the game's definitely, in my opinion, in a beta form. I haven't seen gameplay. It just sounds like what he's saying. That, yeah, we're just making sure all these characters work, before we actually implement something like this, like, yeah, we want to make sure, like, where is the balance, right? So that's what makes sense to me. But yeah, I think for the longevity, definitely. But let's see, is there anything else in this article? It does say that, like, the team at NetEase, I think these are the ones that published the game, or made the game, has stated that they don't see their heroes traditionally filling the tank healer roles that other games like Overwatch do. And yeah, I haven't seen gameplay, but I assume it plays in a similar fashion, right? It says during a launch night Q&A in the game's official Discord, they elaborated on this, saying they prefer fans to play their favorite Marvel heroes instead of being shoehorned into a role they don't feel comfortable with. I would, okay, I guess at launch, sure, in the first few months, that would be the case, right? Again, I go back to the beta thing. It says, thankfully, the hero design plays perfectly into NetEase's philosophy here. Cloak and Dagger, for example, is strategy, who is more than capable of dishing out serious damage beyond just healing. Several heroes can perform multiple roles well, meaning there is a strict requirement of role queue other games have. From the data we've seen in the back end, things are going to get pretty solid, Chen adds. We want people to have a Marvel experience where they can select what they want since the closed beta test. Things that have been rational and within expectations in our competitive play recently. There was a lot of different compositions emerging from players, and we'd like to continue to monitor these fun compositions and how they impact the game, right? So it's more of a test, right? He's saying it's a fucking test before we start implementing other shit. I get it. I understand it. I'm all about it, so why not, right? Keep doing it. Let's see what else we got here. Helldivers 2. That was okay. So that won some games or some awards at the Game Awards. I forgot what it won. It was the PC Game of the Year through Golden Joystick Awards, I believe, a couple of months ago. I'm just reading that off the top of my head. So yeah, this is the PC Game of the Year, guys. Helldivers 2. Not at Jeff Keighley's lame Game of the Awards, guys. The real one, Golden Joystick. But yeah, so then this is the Illuminati update. I think I'm saying that right. Which I believe are enemies. I haven't actually seen them. I haven't played the game in a couple weeks, but it's definitely a fun fucking game. So definitely co-op. I recommend get that mic on, guys. You run into a few shitheads, and otherwise, I've met a few other cool people in there that I've actually jumped back in. One of them is Something for Democracy. That's like his actual gamer tag. So he's obviously a huge Helldivers 2 fan. Play with Jesus, play with Mayo, play with other people in the community. Yeah. So fun time. I need to fire this back up. So anyway, this Illuminati update results in its biggest ever play count spike since it was not announced, but I guess the Illuminati update was announced at the Game Awards. So one of my concerns with the downward trend numbers of Helldivers 2, I think this is from the gentleman that wrote the article, is that every update for the game has not really moved the needle upwards again. And in fact, most of its updates were received poorly by fans. I said the only moments that may reverse things a bit would finally be dropping the Illuminati aliens into the game. And now, after the Game Awards, here we are, folks. The arrival of the Illuminati was a segment on that show. And the updates went live right at that moment. So, and I did see that. I was actually sitting here watching it on the PC and was able to update the game. But yeah, definitely had to work early in the morning, so I never got a chance to play it. Helldivers 2 might just be quietly dropping this into the game and wait for fans to discover it. But I think the Game Awards was worth breaking kayfabe, is that a word? I don't ever heard of that before, to get back. And it has very much worked. The update has been wildly well received by players with new enemies to fight and new city zones base to fight in. So the results have been the largest spike the game has ever seen in terms of where player count was and where it is right now. So let's see, where is it right now? So at the start of the month, let's see, probably in December, Helldivers 2 was capping around 30,000 concurrent players a night on Steam. And when the update hit, it went up 500% to 150,000 concurrents. So I saw my favorite streamer. He was checking it out. He has never played it before. So he really enjoyed it. But it was funny watching like this like pro fucking, well, he plays a lot of WoW, but other games too. Other shooter games that he plays. But yeah, I was like watching him as a noob on this game was funny. Yeah, just using, he's a big mouse and keyboard. Obviously, on PC, right? He's like, what button do I push? Sounded like me when I first played it. Using a controller. Like, how do I call down the strike, guys? I don't know how to do it. But let's see here. 150,000 concurrent players. Highest player count that it's been since April of 2024. And the third of its all-time high at launch. There's also a console to consider as well, through PC numbers for Helldivers have been higher than PS5 since the start. Arrowhead has also said that overall there's 1 billion players now playing the update. Wow, that's pretty good. So, yeah, I know it's not on Xbox yet or whatever. Probably having problems with the... I don't know if it's a problem with the ES or it's just like this exclusive, timed exclusive on there. I don't know. I forgot. But anyway, Helldivers 2 continues to show its dynamic changing galaxy, has a lot of potential for long-term success. It's almost certainly never going to reach its launch highs, but that's hardly unusual. And if an update can spike the player base this much, that's a good sign that they can produce more content like that in the future in a quasi-expansion form. You're not going to see this happen with patches in a few zones or guns or enemies. But if they can keep building on this, sure. There's no reason to think Helldivers 2 can't have a worthwhile future ahead, avoiding the grave of so many other dead multiplayer titles. So yeah, of course it goes on to talk about more about Helldivers 2. It's a great game, guys. I definitely recommend it. Go play it. It's fun with friends. And I've said this before on the show, but if anybody is new to the show, I've played like I would say, well, I forgot what level I'm at right now, but playing it on easy is not the best, right? You're getting like, I feel like it's almost too easy, right? And I think, playing with random people or whatever, right? It's just not that fun. You're just getting like the generic versions of the things you're supposed to pick up. And yeah, there's not a lot of the larger enemies that you get to fight, where I feel like it's cool where, hey, you could be level 10 or whatever and join a game that's hard or super hard, and you've got 2 other players, right? Or 3 other players that are just like fucking level fucking 40, right? And you're fighting some just huge fucking enemies, and like, yeah, it's such a blast, right? Just watching all the gameplay, and I mean all the gunfire, the explosions. It's chaos. It's a blast playing like that. Where I would definitely recommend, do not play this game on easy, only at launch. Then get in and you can actually search for the harder difficulties. That's really how you're going to level up. Dude, stop playing on easy, guys. I'll say that. Like, that would definitely puts a damper on things. It changes the game up so much too. Yeah, you're gonna die. I wouldn't say like go in there and play the insane difficulty. Just go play on hard, and you'll level up. I feel like you'll level up pretty quick, and you'll definitely get more points for when you go back to your ship, and you can unlock things faster. You can do some pay to win stuff if you want to put $10 into, each of the little passes that they have, but you don't have to pay money. So yeah, a lot of cosmetic stuff in there. There are some guns, that you can buy in those things as well. But, again, not required. But anyway, moving on to the next article over here.
Hey, Gunny, what are you doing?
I'm doing a podcast.
You get to do a podcast all by yourself, buddy.
I know. Thanks for joining.
I'm sick as hell, so I don't know how long I'll stay for, but
welcome to the show, Ryan. I got
Yay.
I did ask Mayo, but I guess he's really sick, so he said I can't even talk. And Jesus said he was gonna join, but I don't know where he's at right now.
Yeah, I got pneumonia. I'm feeling like crap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I heard you were talking about the Marvel Rivals game. You haven't tried it yet?
No, I because as you know personally, right? Like, I've kind of moved over to the PC side of things, and I had to go buy a 2 terabyte storage. I didn't have to, but it was on sale, so now I can actually download a few more games onto my Steam. I think I did download it over on the Xbox, but I thought I want to play it on PC. So
it's pretty fun. I don't know. I've only played a couple of matches here and there, but I enjoyed what I was playing. I'll probably go back to it.
Yeah.
Let me know if you're going to play, and I'll hop in with you sometime.
I don't know how long you've been in the call, but did you hear me talk about the article about the roll queue?
I joined when you were talking about Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, and again, since I'm kind of talking out my butt on this one because I'm like, I don't know, I've never played the game.
To say something because you were like, but you just kept going because I figured you didn't see me come in or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for a moment to hop in, and then you just kept going. I was like, all right, well, he's doing good, just rambling on by himself.
I know this is like the second time I've ever done this, and I thought we haven't done a show in a few weeks, and and I really didn't want to wait until I said at the beginning of the show until 8 or 9 o'clock at night when I got to start putting up the tree and some decorations, and too many distractions in here since I'm in a living room, right? That's where I'm at right now, and I don't get a closed door,
Yeah,
so,
you're just
background
in open
noise
space now.
Yeah, sure, yep.
Well, dude, I got some stuff that I could talk about.
Awesome.
And maybe it's
I was just talking about my computer.
Some things that you might actually fire your Xbox up and try and play it, because I bought a couple of little games. I bought this really fun game, dude. It's called Make Way, and it's like a top-down racing game where you build the track. So every player gets to pick a piece of the track, and then you put the pieces of the track together. Like you all put your pieces down, and then you race that track. And then the next race, you get more pieces, and you keep adding to the track, and the track gets more and more difficult as you go along. And it's really fun. I could see it being huge fun as a multiplayer game, like getting 4 people in there, and everybody's trying to grief each other, putting like fans to blow you off the side of the track, and you know what I mean. You put traps and all kinds of stuff, and squiggly roads that are hard to turn, stuff like that. Loop-de-loops, and as you go along, you unlock new pieces to use in the track. And it's been a lot of fun playing that. It's called Make Way.
Awesome.
And I downloaded that on Xbox. I'm pretty sure it's on Steam and PS5 and everything else. And then another game that you might want to check out that I grabbed was called Zombie Rollers Pinball Heroes. And it's like an RPG pinball game. It's a little bit of like pinball and a little bit of Plants vs. Zombies kind of thing. But you're using your pinball to like knock down the zombies, and they come towards you, and then if they get too close, you can use the flippers to knock them and stuff like that. And it's roguelike, so you're doing the runs over and over again, trying to get better and better each time. And that's been a lot of fun too. So 2 little games that you might want to check out that you can next time you fire up your Xbox.
You said roguelike. I'm like my ears perked up because I've been enjoying a lot of roguelikes lately.
Oh, have you? What have you been playing?
Well, I would say definitely in the last 6 months for sure. I've been playing a lot of that Brotato game.
Oh, really? I know a couple people that really got into that too. Yeah.
Yeah, like it. It's one of those things where
it definitely left Game Pass though, didn't it?
Yeah, I think I bought it on Steam, and then and I had it on the old computer, and then it came to Game Pass, and I played a bunch on there. And it's one of those games where, okay, I don't want to get into a AAA game and have to, dedicate 2 or 3 hours. Boom, you can just go in, do a quick match. Whether it's however long you last, it could be 15 minutes, it could be 30. I feel like it goes by pretty quick, with each run, and it's super simple. Yeah, with each, character that you choose.
Yeah,
I just had so much fun with that. I finally I was super excited because I actually got to wave 20 today, which that kind of ends your run. I don't even know. I think it just unlocks more characters.
Yeah,
is what it does. So
the other thing I played a little bit of is the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Have you tried that at all yet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been playing. I played quite a bit of it. I've already finished the Vatican, and I'm on to Egypt.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So I don't know how many hours is that. 6 hours?
I'm still in the beginning. I've kind of fell off of it, but I want to get back to it because it was fun.
Yeah. I already talked about this on the show, but not to rehash anything, but a couple tips, not so much spoilers. And I assume you're already at the Vatican area? Yeah, it's kind of like after the prologue of the game, and you're after the college, and then you get to the Vatican. You talk to Father, whatever his name is.
I'm still in the college. I think I'm still in the college. I think I'm like right at the end of that.
When you do get to the Vatican, and again, this is not really spoilery, but so there's like it's not like this like super massive open world of buildings or whatever. It doesn't seem complicated. You always have a map, right? You can always pull that up with the the button on your controller, and that's what I'm playing with. Where it'll be like, oh, okay, it not only does it show on the map that you kind of pull up in front of you, but it also shows you like on the screen, like you're headed in the correct direction of where you need to go. So yeah, I feel like I'm constantly pressing that button, and then if you start to run, it just puts the map down, right? And then that's a cool, like, a good thing about the game, right? So then you'll run into like these different little street signs, and like let's say you've unlocked an area, it'll be like, oh, you can go back to this area if you and then just do the fast travel. I think I've used it once. Like I don't even think that's really super necessary. So you'll find that that's something really cool about Indiana Jones as well. So it's not like you're going to get lost or it takes too long to get back to the mission giver or anything like that. So
I've seen Jesus playing it a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun. I like the fact that it's a lot of like whether you're using your it's hand-to-hand combat, and like it uses that same audio clips from the movies of like Raiders of the Lost Ark, just that like smack, with like your fist, Yeah. Right. It's really impactful into the character. Or just watch them stumble back, or hit the ground, and TKO, baby. Yeah, it's so much fun.
And I guess the other thing that I've been obviously playing a whole lot of is the season of Fortnite.
Oh, I downloaded
Assassins.
You know what I downloaded tonight? And I think it's standalone. Well, I guess I did
the Ballistic.
Yeah, Ballistic. Is it? So, did you play that at all?
I haven't played it yet. No.
Okay.
It's like sort of like what's that game? Friggin' Counter-Strike, where you buy your weapons and you go in and So, and it's all in first person now.
Yeah. So I thought I'd check that out.
First person version of Fortnite.
So
let me know if you want to check it out. I'll hop in with you because I'm always on Fortnite.
So I got to ask you about Fortnite because I know you've played a lot of this game. And I play with you like it's comical, right? For me to just play this game at random. But I was going to ask you about it. Are you still enjoying the non-building portion of the game?
I don't play build. I don't play build at all. Yeah.
Okay.
I never play build. But I've heard that they made building easier. There's like a simple build where you can now build by where you're facing on the tile. So like the direction you're facing will do the edit of that. Like you just have to get used to what direction you have to do to get what edit, and it makes it a lot quicker to build. And it's supposed to make it easier for people like me that don't like build mode.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know. I've never really liked build mode. I've always enjoyed that the zero build. So that's what I always play. I just can't wrap my brain around it, man. It's like too much going on at once. You know what I mean? I'm trying to aim and I'm trying to edit and I'm trying to build and it's crazy.
Right? Yeah, you're pulling out the pen with the fucking blueprint, and I'm like, how the hell I can barely chew gum and walk at the same time, let alone try and pull out a grenade, fucking build a fucking castle. Crazy. Are you crazy?
I don't know how those people do it, man. Like the people that do triple edits and stuff, and they're just like putting up a whole building in 2 seconds. It's crazy. It's insane. I wish I could do that, but I can't.
It's too much.
And then I guess one other thing I went back to, because for some reason my daughter decided she wanted to play it, was Party Animals. Did you ever play Party Animals?
No.
You're these little animals, and you there's a bunch of different stages, and you just fight each other. It's really funny and a whole lot of fun. It's a good party game, another good multiplayer party game.
Yeah.
Because everybody's just trying to knock each other off the map or whatever.
Oh yeah. I've seen gameplay of it on YouTube.
Yeah, basically these little animals, and you punch and headbutt each other and try and pick each other up and throw them off, and they're all like wobbly style and stuff. Yeah.
What is there's a couple games in that same genre, right? That I did enjoy, by the way. So
yeah,
the wobbly lifestyle,
your friends, and
I'm thinking of something a little more recent that none of the name just doesn't come to mind right now, but I did enjoy those. Yeah, I like the ones that were almost like that 3D side-scrolling style type games where, like, you know, throw your friends off the ledge, right? Or, you know, your enemies or whatever. Yeah. Those were cool. So
yeah, but that's about it for me, man.
All right.
Anyways, I'll let you get back to it. I'll hop out. I gotta go lay down again. I'm starting to get sweaty.
Man, I hope you get better soon.
Thanks,
Good to hear from you. Thanks for the game recommendations. No real quick, I know you had sensed something about it back when it was at launch before, and I said, oh no, I'm done with the console, guys, but then I bought Resident Evil 4, the remake, so I don't know if you said that you had already played it or weren't interested, or...
Yeah, Res 4 is actually one of the only Resident Evils I've never played. But I haven't tried it yet. It's hard for me to do like horror games with Olivia, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta choose my times to play games like that.
Right.
But yeah, I might check it out at some point. It's the remaster, right? So
yeah, and it's been out for a while. Of course, I've already seen a lot of the gameplay, but but yeah, it's one of the few horror genre games that I actually like. So, all right,
man. You have a good night. Have
Thanks
a good solo show, bro. Hopefully someone else will show up.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye. That was game 87777, guys. Anyway, back to what we were talking about here. Ex-Bungie veteran Chris Barrett. So this is a little bit of an older... Well, this came out about a week ago. Files a lawsuit over getting fired. He got canned. So earlier this year, Chris, longtime Bungie developer and the director of Marathon. That's another thing going on too, right? Marathon. I know you guys probably don't hear much about that game, but yeah, who knows if it'll ever come out. I think that's a hero shooter. I could be wrong on that. But either way, so he was suddenly fired from the company following an internal investigation into the misconduct allegations involving several women at the studio. Now, Barrett has filed a lawsuit against Sony and Bungie, alleging that he was fired from the company to avoid a payment of $45 million that he was entitled to. Wow, like, it says he was a, what the hell was he, a director? Like, wasn't like the owner of the company. How the hell was he going to get $45 million? That's what I like to know. Anyway, so Barrett announced the filing of the lawsuit against Sony and Bungie in a statement on the X today. He implies that the circumstances surrounding his firing, he was reported to have inappropriately interacted with at least 8 different female employees, or inaccurate. I've had to endure rampant speculations. Wait, let me go back and read that again. So, it was reported that he interacted with at least 8 different female employees. He said that they're inaccurate. That's what they are. I've had to endure rampant speculations, unfounded attacks on my reputation, and innuendo about what happened behind the scenes to cause me to be fired after 25 years of loyal service. It says the lawsuit also alleges turmoil between the scenes at Bungie following its $3.6 billion acquisition by Sony. This includes the claim that Barrett was due a $45 million payout following the acquisition, and that the allegations against him were fabricated so that Bungie could pin its internal shortcomings on him and avoid the payment. Let's see here. Let's see. That was, it says here also, Barrett was also fired from when Chris Barrett was fired from Bungie earlier this year, Joe Ziegler replaced him as director on Marathon. Most recently, Ziegler announced the development was going well and that the playtests were planned for 2025. But yeah, 45 million, he must have had to have been like executive director, right? Like, that's a lot of money to be getting paid out, right? So, yeah. I don't know, Chris. You better tell us if those claims were inaccurate. Like, what is the accuracy of what it was? So we'd all kind of like to know what it actually is. So interesting. Let's see here. Moving on. We got a little bit more news here. I don't know. These next couple articles, like, this is nothing new, right? Of course. GTA 6 unlikely for 2025. So this is according to. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll down here. Let's see. I know it was from Bloomberg reporter and renowned Jason Schreier. He hinted that he seems to think GTA is unlikely to be released in 2025. In his appearance of Kind of Funny Daily Games, that was on December 10th. So Schreier posted that he would be shocked if Rockstar's latest open world blockbuster doesn't slip into 2026, right? That's his opinion, of course. So he admitted that it will probably be slip again, citing that Rockstar's habit of delaying games with each ensuing release. Pointing to 2018's Red Dead Redemption 2, Schreier eliminated talking to developers at the time and its initial 2017 release before it would get pushed twice to the fall of next year. So I don't know, wasn't that one like somewhere around the COVID thing or whatever? I could be wrong on that. Not 2018, but I guess I'm totally wrong on that one. So well before it. So anyway, he says, I believe it was October 2016. I was in there, and I'll never forget the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer hit, or like they announced the screenshots and they announced some Red Dead Redemption 2 thing, and they were like, coming fall 2017. Is that what they said at the time? And I remember turning to CD Projekt Red's people and being like, I hope you guys aren't playing Cyberpunk for fall of 2017. And they were like, no, don't worry, Cyberpunk would of course come out 3 years after that. So Red Dead Redemption 2 would slip to the spring of 2018 and the fall of 2018. And that was like 6 years ago. Games are even more complicated and even more moving pieces now, slipping even further. It says here, Rockstar's parents Take-Two Interactive has remained adamant in the lead up to the January 6th, or the GTA 6, and that the game would be released in 2025. I believe fall, right? So yeah, they're saying fall. It's looking like fall. But I will kind of add this. I've said this before, right? So let's say fall of 2025, right? So let's say if it does release GTA 6, right? I think that maybe the other question on people's minds in the PC space of things, right, is when does it come to PC, right? And I think around that time is when they say like 1 year, guys. You know, we gotta double dip, triple dip, right? We'll get you on the Xbox X and the PlayStation 5. I don't know. I don't think these games are coming out on older consoles that I know of. So yeah, and then it'll come to Steam, right, and probably the Epic Store, whatever, PC. But I don't know. I think that what they're going to do, this is my opinion, that we're going to see in like, let's see. So fall, let's go spring of maybe 2026, right? They're going to be like, it's coming to PC, guys, but on the Red Dead Redemption or the Rockstar launcher, right? So that's just my opinion. I could be wrong on that. We're going to be like, come check out the game. We've got it mostly running on the Rockstar launcher. You know, come pay your $70, right? And then I think at the end of 2026, they'll be like, now you can buy it again on Steam. So yeah, if you want to buy it 4 fucking times, go ahead, guys, or 3 times, whatever you want, do it. So I don't know, just my opinion, right? Because before they never had the Rockstar launcher, right? I think that came out, was it a few months after Red Dead Redemption 2? That they made their own launcher. So yeah, and you can go over there and purchase games if you want to. It's a thing, guys. Go do it. Yeah, I think they're just going to triple dip with that. So I think it's going to happen. Again, just my opinion. All right, the last article. I know there's a lot of other stuff out there, but says here, I don't know if this is how recent this is, but kind of not new news, but something Jez Corden was working on. And this is from a different news site where it says Xbox won't have exclusives going forward. It's been claimed, right? So who knows? It says here the days of Xbox exclusivity are reportedly numbered, according to Jez Corden, who discusses understandings of Microsoft's first-party strategy in a series of X posts this weekend. Right? That's just him kind of going off with his little tweets, right? Or post, as they call them. Says here, if some games are exclusive, it's going to be an incidental at best. On a case-by-case argument is by and large going to be multi-plat timed and maybe with very few outliers, Corden later added. And responding to a user who said they didn't believe the Xbox upcoming Fable game would be coming to PlayStation, Corden wrote. The game was monstrously expensive and might not be day one, but it'll come with a current plan in place, in my opinion. Xbox first announced in February's plans to bring a wave of games to PlayStation and Nintendo in what appeared to be a significant change of strategy. And of course, that was Pediment, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. So let's see here. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it here. Oh, Matt Booty, Microsoft president of the game content studio, also told Variety this month, we are very much making the exclusivity of windowing decisions on a game-by-game basis, right? And each of our studios is in a little bit of a different position, which is true, right? Like, I've noticed with, like, you know, if you go to any of their websites, like Bethesda, ZeniMax, Interactive, or whatever the hell it's called, right? Like, none of those things actually say Microsoft or Xbox on them. I was on there today. I was like, nowhere on these websites do they actually say Microsoft, right? And with those other games, you can tell, even on PlayStation, they're published by ZeniMax Studios, right? No words of Xbox or Microsoft anywhere on those. So to me, it almost makes sense where they, in some regards, where I know that studios, right, they work on a budget, right? They want to make money. I'm sure they ask every fucking time, right? Even with Indiana Jones, where they're like, hey guys, executives over at Microsoft, can we please put this on the PlayStation where, they have 80 million consoles? Like, we'd make a ton of cash, we'll make money, you'll make money, our team's going to get some of that good lunches every day. They can win prizes. Everybody will be happy, So yeah, I'm sure, right, that other studios do the same thing within that Microsoft umbrella, right? I'm sure that was the first question too from Activision, right? So even if you go to Activision, does it say Microsoft anywhere? Nowhere, right? Activision still, it's kind of its own publisher, right? So whether it be on Steam or PlayStation 5, yeah. And I'm sure they do the same thing, where they're like, are you really going to limit us to just, the Xbox Series S and X, right? That's not selling enough consoles, right? We definitely would want to, right? We would want to reach out to as many people as possible. So, and of course, Microsoft's on board with it, right? They're definitely, on board with making more money, being in more different places, right? Yeah. So I think one of the things is like the controversy in the last several weeks has been like Matt Booty, has been saying like it's a case by case basis, right? And then Phil Spencer is saying like, hey, there's no red line, man, when it comes to like exclusivity. Like so he's saying everything is kind of up in the air. Like, not up in the air, but like everything's a possibility for it coming to PlayStation. And just to recap, whatever, let's go back 5 years ago, right? When Phil, took over 5 or 6 years ago, right? And Game Pass was invented. Everything's been on Steam day one, right? Halo, Gears, Forza, everything, right? Everything's on there day one. So there's been no red line with like Steam. I think just PlayStation's really the new platform of where they put some of these games, right? Minecraft was baked in. What else? There's been a couple others, right, that were just kind of baked in there. But yeah, I think going forward, like definitely some of these things are going to be, I think they'll just be timed, right? Everything's kind of a timed exclusive, even on the PlayStation side of things. We're definitely seeing that, right? And of course, not so much first party, but like Square Enix with their Final Fantasies, right? Timed exclusives. Yeah, they may not be coming out on the Xbox, but clearly they're coming out on Steam. Yeah, what else? Helldivers, right? Another third party. That was not a timed exclusive, right? That was kind of a deal where they're like, hey, we're just kind of come out, make sure we put it on Steam, but we won't put it on Xbox, you know? So it'll be, you know, PS5 and Xbox day one, you know? Boom, boom. That was the smartest thing they could do, right? Yeah, unless Sony just wasn't willing to pay them a lot more money than they wanted, right? So, but it's worked out for them. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. See how it goes. Yeah. Oh, but I will say something. I did not listen to the article, or watch video or whatever podcast that Phil Spencer was on. I'm just kind of basing this off of like YouTube videos where I guess Phil Spencer was talking about, you know, this handheld thing, or was when he was asked about the handheld, not the one that was original when he said, go talk to, what's her name? I forgot her name. The other executive over at Microsoft, right? So that's kind of her thing. But then he did say like, yeah, man, we're working on a handheld. Let me just see if I can pull it up here, right? Talking about the handheld, right? Let's see here. He practically confirms an Xbox handheld on June 9th, 2024. So I guess that was back in the summertime or whatever. Or 1 month ago, whatever. So yeah, I guess it was confirmed a month ago. But yeah, and he said it's a few years out. So like I kind of look at that and I'm like, okay, wait, so the first thing that came to my mind, right, was like I thought, oh, they're gonna do like again, just my opinion, where I thought it's just gonna be like Nintendo, right? Where to me, this is my opinion, where I feel like Nintendo got out of the traditional console market, right? Because I feel like the Switch is a mobile device. I know you can say like it's a hybrid device, but I'm like, yeah, I can't take my Xbox One on the train, right? I mean, my Series X on the train. I can't carry it to school. I could take it to school, right, or work and plug it in the wall, but you know, it's not exactly like a handheld, right? It's got to be plugged in. It needs power. So yeah, it's not easy or convenient for me. So to me, it's a handheld device, right? I know you can just plug it in, just like I do with my Steam Deck, right? I have it to where I have a dock for it, and I can put it on my monitor. But to me, it's a handheld. I can just pick this thing up and take it with me and throw it in my backpack, right? Just like the Switch. So I wonder, like, is that what the route they're gonna do? And why are they talking about a few years from now, right? Because to me, they're saying, yeah, look, they've already confirmed they're skipping the hardware upgrade, right, for the Series S and X. They're not doing like pro versions, allegedly, right? Yeah, I think they'll more than confirm it coming June E3, of 2025, right? So yeah, and maybe they'll mention something, but that's not like Phil, right? To actually not announce, but talk about things that are a few years away, because he's always said, I don't like talk about games that are like out too far past a couple of years. That's not right for the customer base, So then, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was odd, right, that he even brought that up. But that's what it sounds like to me. Maybe they are getting out of the console market traditionally, right? And they just might go, sure, call it console hybrid. Yeah, this thing does, it does Microsoft games. It'll have the Steam OS, because that's another thing too, where I'll bring that up and interject with that, is the Steam OS, something I didn't know about, but I guess it's not so much on like, what am I thinking of? The ROG Ally? I didn't know that. I just assumed that it was like on there. Like, I didn't know that it wasn't on like the Legion Go or something, but apparently you can put Steam OS on there, I guess, like not, I guess somehow get it on there. Anyway, so that's apparently being a thing that's been out there in the wild through videos that I've watched and stuff. So that kind of makes sense, right? That, like, let's say in 2026, right, they announced their next console and they're saying, like, here it is, guys. You could take it on the train, you could take it on the plane, right? And here's our next console, boom, boom, right? It's a console hybrid. and it plays Xbox. You could do Epic. You could do. It's got the Steam OS for your Steam library. That's what I think, bro. Yeah, just my opinion. So, yeah, this won't be a traditional console. I think the only one that'll be left was PlayStation. With that being said, guys, I think that's pretty much the end of the show. Yeah, that's all I got. So, anyway, have a good show, everybody. Let's see here. Anything else? I think that's all, guys. This has been episode 469. Glad for Gibbs to join in. Anyway, I will get back with you guys. Hopefully, we'll get Jesus and Mayo on. We get through the sick winter season. And hopefully, we get on there for episode 470. Take care, everybody. Peace out, Brussels sprouts. See you on the next show.